for before you
want me to
jump
wait?
in. I think you got to get through the second na-na-na and then come in right now.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. I like the song. You know my feeling. I like the song. We're rolling with this for a while.
Does this pass the vibe check for me usually on a song that is maybe not I think this is the greatest song ever made is would I drive around on a day like this where the weather's expected to be good with the windows down and enjoy my time?
Yes, the answer is yes. Pretty soon we're going to get used to this where we won't even comment on it every single day. Okay, I promise. Pretty soon it's just going to be normal. We'll get used to it. And pretty soon I'll convince Drew to just let it roll for the first minute or so of the show because it's great. I like it.
You want it to go that long? Okay.
Eventually.
They can stay there for a little while.
Yeah, eventually we'll be good. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. As Cody said, it is going to be another beautiful day in KC. We got Dayton Hughes coming up at 10:40, former Chiefs wide receiver. He'll be down in Jacksonville on the call along with Mitch Holthus. Josh Klingler, Dan Israel on the Chiefs radio network. I really want to talk to Danon about wide receivers right in the mentality after a game where you drop balls as much as Kadarius Toney did. And so how do you bounce back? And what's the mental psyche going into a game like this? What did he see from the wide receiver group? So Danon Hughes going to join us with that. Also a little bit later on today, Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, will join us at 12:30 with everything getting pushed back a little bit yesterday with Chris Jones and Mahomes and everybody talking. But we're just a couple days away from the Chiefs heading down to sunny Jacksonville to take on the Jags, who we've discussed the one seed conversation. And I think that to me is what is on the line Sunday. Yeah, the 0-2 stuff and the freak out or what happens if you drop to 0-2, sure, no doubt. But it is the number one seed conversation. And I think, and so do you, that the Jags have a great chance to be the number one seed. It's a bet that I actually have, as a matter of fact. And if that's the case, then when we look at the schedule, you may have said the Jets were preseason one of the more important games, or the Chargers games because it's a divisional game. But if it's the scenario that I think exists, which is if you lose, not only is it a tiebreaker problem, it's 0-2. I think this is a very important game on Sunday if you want the Chiefs to have that bye. I really do. I know it's week 2, but I think it's massive for that.
So because we discussed these games, we at some point when they released the schedule said, hey, what are the 3 most important games of the Chiefs of the NFL season? We did not at any point entertain Jacksonville as being a part of that game. We mentioned Cincinnati. We mentioned Philadelphia. We mentioned Buffalo. We mentioned the Chargers game at home. We mentioned so many other games that to the point that Jacksonville might have been 6th, 7th on this list. But if what you're saying is true, and I don't think that's way out of line, that Jacksonville would have a shot at the 1 seed this year, then this is one of the 3 most important games on the schedule. It prevents you from going 0-2. It's head-to-head against an opponent who might hold the advantage on you from a bye perspective. Yep. It is one of the very few teams in the AFC that you care about that actually won, right? Baltimore and Jacksonville might be the only 2 AFC teams who won that you care won. Everyone else is the Raiders won. Oh no, you don't care.
Maybe the Dolphins, right? Maybe you throw them in the mix a little bit.
Maybe Miami, right? So it's a very select group of teams, but you're playing this one, which means you can immediately put them onto the same level as you, and you're right back into the mix. I think the importance of this game has risen significantly from whence I first saw the schedule. Not just because I watched each of these 2 teams play one game, but because once you get a sense of the AFC East isn't going to be as hard as we thought. I think we already know that because of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, and maybe that Buffalo slide that I told you is coming next year. Maybe we're on the fast track to that.
My guess is Josh Allen looks great this weekend, probably. But yeah,
I'm not willing to just go that far, but it could be, right? You're not ruling out the fact that Buffalo's decline, which happens for most teams eventually, which means they become a 7, 8, 9, 10-win team who doesn't factor into the Super Bowl conversation, might be sooner. This game has more importance than we would have originally thought when the schedule came out.
Because it's likely going to be easier for the Jags to rack up 13-plus wins than it is going to be for you, surely based off of the schedule. And you have an AFC South that has the Texans and the Colts, who, gave you a little bit of a tough test, but you found a way to win on the road, too. So now you get them back at home. And a Titans team that they'll hang around, maybe cause some problems, but they're to me not a team that's going to win that division. And then the other division they play, the cross division, is the NFC South. And that's a division that we've all acknowledged is very weak, that the winner might just need to get to 10. And the
10 might be too high.
The Saints or Falcons, you get to 10, it feels like a lock for you to win the NFC South. And so it's going to be a tougher road for the Chiefs to get to 13 or 14 than the Jags. And so that tiebreaker is massive. So, yes, it's week 2. And as I told you, from an actual winning the division, making the playoffs, if they were to drop this one on Sunday, do I think it's the end of the world? No, we'll talk more about that tomorrow with Pete Sweeney as well. But when you look at just the number 1 seed implications, this is, you mentioned Philadelphia. That's an important game from a fan perspective. But deep down, that isn't nearly as important as this game. That's an NFC team. It's why, as much as it sucks losing week 1 to the Lions, at least you weren't Cincy and lost a divisional game. At least you weren't Buffalo and lost a divisional game.
Yeah, and an AFC game and all the other reasons. No, you lost to the Lions. Again, you would have preferred to have the win. Nobody's making that argument. I mean, just go through the schedule now. The Jets game, which we might have, I think at the time, you ranked in your top 3 as most important games before the season.
I had the Jets going to the divisional round.
Well, that's not the case
It's
anymore.
definitely not without Rodgers.
This is not one of those, like, making you getting to change your opinion on, like, the Packers or the Jets, like maybe we were giving Drew a chance after week 1.
Yeah.
That's just, like, the vibes changed. We know that, and for obvious reasons. Now, if you go through the entire schedule, there is no chance this isn't one of the 3 most important games on your schedule. I would still argue that Cincinnati, the second to last week of the season, is up there. Yeah. And I'll just tell you right now, the second best team in the division, whoever you think that is, I think it's clearly the Chargers, that one.
Twice.
One of those.
Twice a year. Twice with them.
One of those, and I don't know which one it's going to end up being. It kind of depends on what the records are at the time they face each other. But one of those Chargers games will end up being the second most important game. That means they got a lot on the line for this one. And they're playing with one arm tied kind of behind their back a little bit. Chris Jones and Travis Kelce practiced yesterday, but I don't think either of us assume that they either will be 100% going into this game. Travis can still contribute. Chris Jones can still contribute. But if 2 of your 3 most important players are limited, it's putting even more juice into this thing. Because now if you can get a win, while somewhat debilitated from an injury standpoint, on one of your more important games of the schedule, I think we'll be riding high on Monday.
Yeah, I wonder how many Chiefs fans will make the trip, too. You know, Jacksonville now starting to get even more support because of what they did a year ago, and their fan base was fired up. But I know, I mean, just based off of some of even like the fan groups or whatever that exist for really the minute the schedule came out, this was a game I know a lot of Chiefs fans were looking at to go to, right? It's September. You figure the weather's going to be great, and it's going to be very hot and humid down in Jacksonville. But I'll be very curious to see. It's the first road game of the year. We know the Chiefs fans been traveling like crazy the last couple after the Super Bowl. Usually it's to those AFC West opponent games. But I think you could see a good group of Jacksonville fans. Now, it's the home opener for Jacksonville. That's the only difference. It's not like it's a Week 5 game. It is the home opener for Jacksonville. But I'll be curious to see how much red we see down there.
And they know how much. And the other part is, like, every team, but Jacksonville knows what this game means. This game means you are relevant. You matter in the NFL. You matter in the AFC Super Bowl conversation. Not just you matter in the big picture part of this conversation. Honestly, if they hold it close, people will probably take them seriously in that department, right? I would argue that if it's a 27-24 down to the last drive, they'd be like, ooh, man, Jacksonville, no problem, right? Totally fine. You should probably treat them that way because that's the way it looks across the board. And I just don't think there's any way to look at it. Like, I was going through the whole schedule. I'm like, this is one of the most important games. And yeah, part of it is because I still think it would be one of the most important games, even if they beat Detroit. I just think it gets a little extra higher percentage as a result of losing.
Implication, you know, and yeah, the head-to-head tiebreaker would always have been there, but it's just it's going to 0-2 when you know to get the 1 seed, Cody, you probably got to get to 13 at least, and that gets a lot more challenging, if you start 0-2. Now, I was stunned later on the show. We'll talk about this. Like, you know, do I still think this team is getting to that 12-win mark? Absolutely, I do. I don't shift off of that because they lost week 1 to the Detroit Lions. And a lot of that week 1 loss, of course, the blame has been centered around Kadarius Toney, who did speak yesterday, Cody. And we touched on it briefly when Toney had wrapped up discussing kind of his mindset for this week. And I feel like Andy's going to get him the ball right away. The first 15 plays, you're going to see maybe multiple plays that are designed to get the ball in his hands, to try to get it, wash away what happened a week ago and make him feel good and confident for the rest of the game. He has to, for the Chiefs to win this game, by the way, especially if Kelce is still limited, if he plays, like, Kadarius Toney has to have a huge role in that. He does.
I'm convinced he's having a big bounce back game. Like 5 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown
Okay.
is my official prediction for what we can expect out of Kadarius Toney this week. I think it's 5 for 60 and a touchdown. He's their best wide receiver. I feel actually really confident in saying that just based on everything we saw in the offseason and just general ability. I'm pretty sure that their best wide receiver is Kadarius Toney. And like you said, I assume that that will include a force feeding of, like a force feeding of Kadarius Toney in a way because they like to make people feel better about themselves. And they know, unlike the times when they bench the players who fail in ways, right, where they'll just be like, hey, Le'Veon Bell, you're not getting it done anymore. You're done. You're done. It's Damian Williams' job now because he doesn't screw it up, so you're done. Sorry you can't hold on to the ball. They do not, as much as we've talked about that with other players for the Chiefs, they do not have that luxury with wide receiver. They can't be throwing people out in the woods, right? Not right now.
Well, and Kadarius Toney talked yesterday about his conversation that he did have with Andy Reid.
Just settle down. Just be the person I am. Never try to overdo or overstep what I normally do. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to be a superhero when, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like I said, just make plays when it's time to make them.
Don't have to overdo it. Yeah, you'll sometimes have a young player that will try to then, go ahead and get everything back on the first play or so and then make another mistake. Sounds like that's something that was already discussed, that making sure that that's not the case heading into this game. But I just think I'm with you. You mentioned 5 for 60. I mean, I think everybody would sign up for that in a heartbeat. 560 and a touchdown for Kadarius Toney.
Be a good day. I mean, 60 yards a game is a 1,200
He was targeted
receiver.
5 times in this past week's game against the Lions. So I don't think 5 catches is crazy. It might even be more than that. I think he could have a huge day just based off of how some of this stuff usually works. Everybody's down on a certain player. Andy Reid's going to get him the ball quickly. He is the wide receiver that if you get him the ball has a chance to probably do the most special things with it once he is able to secure the catch. I don't know if there's anybody else, maybe Sky Moore, as far as, hey, once the ball's in his hand, what can he do with the football? He's very high on the list, maybe the top of the list.
Yeah, he is. At this point, other than Travis Kelce, right? Because we know what he does after the catch.
Sure.
He probably has shown more in that regard. I will continue to point out, and I don't think it's unfair because this was the whole thing I had questions about the wide receiver unit. I don't know that we actually have an answer on who's really good after the catch from a lot of these guys. We've seen how many catches did Kadarius Toney have for the Chiefs last year? Like 15?
No, I think we're basing it off of when he does get the ball. No,
he does look.
It's pretty rare. There's very few players as far as making cuts that are as shifty and has quick. I mean, it's special. It's special when you watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it because I just watched like Tyreek Hill play in a game, and I'm like, oh yeah, you are the fastest man on an NFL field. In a field full of very fast people, you look different,
Right?
And everything appears different. I don't feel that way about the other wide receivers outside of Toney. That's fair. But so much of this is like, I always hate, like, that was a conversation, and I know that this is not, like, take the injury part out of it. That was a conversation we had a lot around Mondesi. But even when Mondesi was on the field, because he did look different, and everybody around baseball would be like, that is a different kind of athlete, that is a different level of athlete. But then there are still times when they can't turn that athleticism into promise. And that's kind of what happened in game 1 for Toney. Toney had all the athleticism in the world to be standing by his own all the way down, 30 yards down the field for a first down. But then when the moment came up, biffed it, right? And so is he going to be able to take that athleticism, harness it for the good, right? And then turn into the type of receiver? I'm really obviously hoping so on that end, but that's just like something I'll never know.
If you want to be concerned about injury history still, of course, that's still in play. I'm not concerned that suddenly he's just going to be a wide receiver that can't catch passes. I just don't think that's who he's going to become in this offense. If you want to say that in 3 weeks he's got a hamstring injury, that's more than fair. All right.
Yeah.
But I think now he's just going to start dropping 3 passes every single game. I don't think that's what's going to happen here for Kadarius Toney.
The text line said they have to give Justin Ross more snaps.
What happens if they don't? What if they
No,
have
they
to?
have to.
They have to. If they don't,
be-
they can't win the game, I guess.
I can be honest. There's a chance he's not active.
Correct. They may not have all 7
I don't know
wide
how to break
receivers
this to you,
active.
text line. That's fine. It might not go down that way, but there's a chance Justin Ross doesn't even do it because Travis Kelce will be active, we presume, coming up on Sunday.
It's trending. It's trending in that direction. I don't know if anybody can say definitively. It's definitely trending. He was limited,
especially because the
practice.
Chiefs love to give players one extra week of heel time. Remember when we were talking about this with Toney last year? Be like, are they really going to wait one more week? Wait one more week after the bye? The answer is almost always yes with the Chiefs, by the way. So If you picked up Travis Kelce in your guillotine leagues, it might be another week before he can save you. I can't believe how much he went for in Chargers.
I'm not
league.
surprised.
I bid a lot.
You know you're not
Dude,
surprised.
I bid a lot. That's not even a Kansas City-based league.
Well, we do. Yeah, the media league, he went for a lot. As far as our listener league, that's probably the one. At least there's some people that are listening that are in that versus our media league. I was surprised. Lamar Jackson went in our Cody and Gold Guillotine League, went for $500.
You get 1,000.
You get 1,000 all year to use, and he went for $500.
Coming off a bad week.
That's way too much.
And he hasn't even finished the year the last 2 seasons.
I think I barely beat Cody out on a player by about $6. So
I think you beat me out on Aaron
Jones. I went ahead and went 217 on Aaron Jones, who might not play Sunday, so this is more of a long-term play. You bid 211. That's the best feeling, by the way, when you realize that, you know what, you were pretty close on your numbers. Versus someone that bid 500 on Lamar, the next closest was like 200. Or you did.
I bet 100 on a player that nobody else bid on.
Yeah, that's rough.
Well, so there was a 3-tiered system I had in place yesterday. I had a bid on Aaron Donald, a lower bid on Breece Hall, and an even lower bid
Aaron
on
Donald. We're going IDP now,
Aaron
Drew.
Donald, yeah, Aaron Jones.
Who knew?
Sorry. Aaron Jones, then Breece Hall, and then I had a third bid on Warren. And I was worried because nobody has running backs in these leagues in the early going because it's desperate.
Sure.
Then, okay, I got to spend a little bit of my budget. I don't need to spend early, like a ton early.
$100, man.
Well, I thought he was going to go for like 80.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to secure a running back.
I would have thought someone else would have put a bid in.
Well, I'd have put a buck in if I knew.
I was thinking he was going for like 25 to 30.
I thought he was going to go for like 80. These early weeks, normally there are some like ridiculously high prices on players. That's fine. I would have liked my bid to win on either the other two. I was like 40 short on Breece Hall, so I wasn't way off on Jones or Breece.
A reminder: the winner of our Cody and Gold Guillotine League not only gets bragging rights and a free spot in the league next year, but also gets free wings for a year from our friends over at Jefferson.
Plus, whatever else we can dig up around the station.
You never know. You never know.
Mystery prizes. The best kind. It's like mystery team in the trade department. Mystery prizes. They could be anything. You don't know.
Assuming that knowing that this is a Chiefs league, I feel like what I brought in yesterday could maybe be also on the table.
Yeah, Drew brought in an item that we might be using in the Cody and Gold garage sale.
But could be available as a prize. It is a gigantic, what is it? How tall do you think it is, Drew? Like 8 feet, 10 feet tall?
I would say it's probably 8 feet.
See, this whole time, Drew was a closet Chiefs fan. This whole time, this is why he came to Kansas City. He had this item before he moved to Kansas City. Who, that's a Bengals fan that doesn't actually love the Chiefs, has a giant Mahomes poster? I'm just saying, did you or did you not, before you moved to Kansas City, have a giant Mahomes poster?
I got a call from my mom before we moved, and she said, hey, I've got a Mahomes poster. Would you want it? And I said, I have no use for it, but I can take it to Kansas City because they will want it.
It's a giant magnet of Patrick Mahomes. It's like an Adidas ad. It's like a gigantic 8-foot by 3-foot magnet.
Perfect. Garage sale item.
You don't want to give it to the winner of the guillotine league?
I think we save that for the garage sale. That's a garage sale item.
It would be funny if Drew won the league and then had to have that magnet. We're like, but you want it. You got to put it up in your house. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know who has that big of a space in which a magnet can hang.
Put it on the side of your car.
Have it wrap your car.
I mean, it's long enough.
It is.
I don't know which way you do it.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll get back into the Chiefs and Jags. What Jawan Taylor's former coach had to say about all the talk around being offensive lineman that's lining up wrong and false starting. Very interesting stuff. We'll get to that coming up in 10 minutes because I laughed, honestly, when I saw what Doug Peterson had to say. But we were wondering with the Aaron Rodgers news, at some point, when would he address the injury, right? I'm sure, obviously, going through a lot mentally and physically with the devastating injury that he suffered on Monday night to end his season. And he put out a post on Instagram. It was a photo of him running out of the field with the American flag. Of course, they did the tribute in remembrance towards 9/11 on Monday Night Football before he got hurt. And on Instagram, he posted, and of course, Aaron Rodgers couldn't just say, I'm trying to come back next year. He posted, "The night is darkest before the dawn, and I shall rise yet again." That was...
It's like Bane sitting in the prison in The Dark Knight Rises. That's almost directly a quote. Like,
that's why
you adopted darkness. I was bored.
The bat signal or whatever.
The way that you also said it, Gold, made it sound like you were trying to impersonate Bane as well.
I half-assed it, but yes. Look, I'm not stunned that he's planning on coming back. That was never the question, Cody. Of course he's planning on coming back. Yesterday, when we were asked by one of our coworkers, like, hey, do you guys think he's coming back next year? And I said, I think he's going to try. I go, I need to find out in June or July. Is his body allowing him? Every Jets fan that's like, you're out of your mind if you don't think he's coming back. It's not that I don't think he wants to. Duh, he doesn't want his career ending the way it did on Monday night. I just wonder, when he goes through the whole recovery process, is he physically able to play at a high level? He's 40, will be 40 years old. That's my only question, not what he wants to do.
The other part is we're assuming that his gut reaction is what Aaron Rodgers is going to stick with. Because 24 hours after the injury, he dropped some Batman quote and said, "I'm coming back." And as the Phoenix, I'll rise through the ashes. You just assume that man's got like 4 more darkness retreats and ayahuasca trips
He
before
might have been
that.
on ayahuasca when he was sending out the tweet or Instagram post.
You don't think he could have a change of heart sometime in the next 12 months?
We know he's almost 40, but maybe some of the ayahuasca will help the recovery process a little bit. Maybe it'll expedite it, so he will be back. Who knows?
Is that how ayahuasca works?
Dude, I have no idea.
I think one time, as much as we've talked about on the show, one of us has to do it. Show bet, one of us has to go get ayahuasca and trip on it for an entire day. Probably one of you two. You guys aren't gonna have kids, you know?
Darkness retreat.
I have kids.
What
Can
does
I use
that
that as an
matter?
excuse to
What
get
does
out
that
of it?
matter?
I don't know. I'm just trying to use it as an excuse to get out of.
Your life is settled and good to go. You
What does
should be the
that
one.
mean? Settled and good to go. So
You're
I
married-
should be using drugs?
You already have a wife. You've got kids. You're set. You're good.
That's a reason to not. Typically, that's a reason to not
I disagree.
experiment with
I disagree.
new drugs.
I disagree. Like you're good.
What if you went for a day? Like, you didn't go on a retreat, but it's a 12-hour period.
Yeah, just go spend some time in a yurt. I mean, it would have to be something like, do you know what that is, Gold? The look on your face.
I don't.
It's just like a big tent, man. It's
Just
fine.
say a damn tent, then, please. Just say a tent.
Nah, dude.
was like, what
People who
is
use
that?
ayahuasca definitively do it inside of a yurt. There's just almost no question
Someone
that
says
that's
you
the
would
vibe.
not be posting on Instagram if you're on ayahuasca. You're vomiting and seeing through time. Ayahuasca expert. 913-586-7610.
Oh, man. Someone says it has to be filmed if you do it. What, we're just kind of like a full video of me on that?
Oh, man. Who knows?
Oh,
You're the one that's suggesting the idea,
God.
so I feel like you've got to be the one that
Drew,
is
this
first
like,
in line.
Drew, this is anytime we talk about ayahuasca, he suggests doing it. I think he really wants
I
to
don't
try
remember
it.
if I did
You're
that.
the one that brought up the idea, but then you said one of us has to do it. I feel like you're really in on this idea, but you're not willing to do it.
There it is. We figured it out, Drew.
fair.
There's your show bet. You know, there's the show bet for the Chiefs Bengals game. Loser has to do ayahuasca. There it is.
All right. Let's see. Ayahuasca.
Do you think you would get fired if you did ayahuasca on the show?
On the show? Yes.
Yes.
I think
We
it's an
don't drug
automatic.
test in this business.
We
So I
don't.
think I could do ayahuasca and then reappear on this show.
Someone says if you guys buy the ayahuasca, they'll take it.
Just get everybody in the. You just have to take a couple days.
That's a hell of a 610 Club 610 Friday. That's all that is.
Templeofyumi.com says that they have an ayahuasca retreat in Kansas City. We don't even have to go out of town.
Excuse me?
We can
Temple
just-
what?
Umi, UMI.org. They're a nonprofit. You know, it's important.
What's this run, Cody?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't dug through the website well enough to really know. I still think there's a better than not chance he doesn't play, by the way. I just think that when it all
Well,
shakes
sure, he's
out.
going to be 40.
It all depends on how, because they were saying in the report as well with these types of injuries, and age obviously has a huge factor in this and how your body responds to it. There's guys that have, because I think the report that I brought up was, I forget where exactly it was sourced, but 30 to 40% of players who get Achilles injuries don't even come back, and I'm sure some of those players
Most of those guys
are in their
40?
20s. Yeah, I'm sure they're in their 20s or even early 30s.
All right, coming up next, though, Juwan Taylor was, of course, on Jacksonville last year, the Chiefs' opponent on week 2, and Juwan Taylor got called out in week 1 by a lot of people around the league for how he was lining up. Hear what Doug Peterson had to say. Plus, Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, tells us what he makes of Kadarius Toney heading into week 2.
Chiefs fans, it's Creed Humphrey. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by GAN Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, GAN Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Get ready for the upcoming NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday Ticket, fresh from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the perfect time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything for this upcoming NFL season. So visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code CDOT if you want to kick the NFL season off with an offer that you don't want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued. Non-withdrawable bonus picks that expire in 7 days after restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends September 18th of 2023. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket. Not on YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and a current form of payment. Commercials excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Old Shawnee Pizza has expanded to the Crossroads with their OSP Express. Go to ospexp.com to order and use any third-party delivery system. Located in the Crossroads food stop at 16th and Campbell. Go to ospexp.com to order. Old Shawnee Pizza, now 3 locations.
Want a new car at a used car price? I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lee Summit. Right now, we have a surplus of new cars, so everything is seriously discounted.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV. Hurry in before we run out of 2023s.
Don't miss our surplus sale at the #1 Volkswagen dealer in the Midwest. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Based on 2022 VW retail reports, financing through VCI OIC. Call 816-841-7383 for details.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
So how can a roofer talk about a 30-year warranty on a shingle and then only guarantee his work for half that or less? Workmanship is the most important part. JR & Company's workmanship warranty, lifetime.
JR's there for you. You're always better with a roof from JR.
That's right. JR & Company offers a lifetime workmanship warranty on every residential roof we install. And it's even transferable if you sell your home. How do we offer a lifetime warranty? Well, our roofers are that good. It kind of makes you wonder about the other guys. From our free online storm damage check to our lifetime workmanship warranty, no one protects you and your home like JR & Company.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrcousa.com.
Great to see you, Bob Fesco. What are you doing out here at Summit Zoo Pets?
Well, just like you, Zeke, I'm here to meet Jimmy at Summit Zoo Pets, where admission is always free for you and your family. Hey, Jimmy, what's going on out here at Summit Zoo Pets?
Guys, thanks for coming out. We're a pet store and more. We have over 17,000 square feet full of pets and pet supplies.
Zeke, this is a great place, a fun place for families, for everyone, even you.
Yeah, Bob, I can get a snake and a rabbit.
Hey, Zeke, don't put them in the same cage. Check them out at summitzoo.com or visit them at the intersection of 291 and 150 Highway in Lee Summit. It's Summit Zoo Pets.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. So add those human pawns, loved ones, and save money. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
Be more cyber zen. Get NordVPN. With a few simple clicks, NordVPN will block online trackers, secure your devices from malware-infected downloads, and block access to malicious websites. With NordVPN, enjoy internet without trackers, without malicious websites, without malware-ridden files. Be more cyber zen. Take advantage of our special offer now at nordvpn.com.
Consumer Cellular's award-winning customer support is 100% based in the U.S., and you are 100% based in the U.S. That's something you have in common with Consumer Cellular's customer service. Consumer Cellular's customer service likes pizza, and you like pizza. You want a free month of service, and we want to give you one. We obviously can't wait to hear from you. Visit consumercellular.com/free month and enter code FREEMONTH to get your second month free. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Promotion is subject to terms and conditions.
Home is where the heart is. At Anthony, 70-plus years of trust. Safe, reliable, local. Your home, our commitment. Schedule online today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
Whether it's a backyard barbecue, delicious, or a parking lot tailgate, nothing gets the party started like Kingsford Matchlight Charcoal. With Kingsford Matchlight, all it takes is a match. No lighter fluid needed, making it the perfect charcoal for on-the-go get-togethers. Give your food a smoky barbecue flavor and give your crowd something else to cheer about. With Kingsford Matchlight Charcoal, Kingsford's fastest lighting charcoal. Kingsford.com.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
If you've had painful kidney stones, you know you don't want more. Moonstone Stone Stopper is a simple solution that works. Created and recommended by top kidney stone doctors, Stone Stopper is an alkali citrate formula scientifically proven to prevent crystallization. Stone Stopper's patented formula is gentle on the stomach and is available in easy-to-swallow capsules, gummies, and powder drinks that make hydration delicious. Stone Stopper is available at participating Walmart and Walgreens stores. Look for the red stop sign on the bottom shelf of the vitamin aisle. For more information or to find a store near you, go to stonestopper.com.
Football is back, and so is Cash the Ticket. Jim Costa with Mike Valeni every week this fall. That's picks, parlays, and that sweet, sweet value, Cactus included, on all the NFL and college football matchups. Full breakdowns on the biggest games, but if you have a life, you don't have 45 minutes to spare, we've got you. We're the most on-demand podcast. We're catered to you and the teams you love. That's Cash the Ticket. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Park & Go. BookParkandGo.com.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service and always the best price at BookParkandGo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at BookParkandGo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Just getting started here on a Thursday. Former Chiefs wide receiver Danon Hughes is going to join us coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Of course, part of the Chiefs radio network will get his thoughts on Kadarius Toney and this wide receiver room that had a rough go, to say the least, in week one, but now looking ahead to the Jags game. And thinking of Jacksonville, we know a former Jaguar is now on the Chiefs. That's the Chiefs right tackle, Jawan Taylor. He came over, got the massive contract. And the story throughout week one, or the Chiefs week one game at least, was Jawan Taylor. Is he false starting every play? Where is he lining up? And that was the natural the natural reaction everybody had, I think, watching. And certainly the reaction nationally was that there needs to be a flag thrown. And we mentioned on the show last Friday that a couple former offensive linemen broke it down and explained that he's just kind of right in between it. It's not really a false start. And he's done this his whole career. Goes back to Jacksonville. So I laughed yesterday when I saw initially, and I'll blame Mike Florio for this, the way the quote was presented without the full context, it made Doug Peterson like, what are you talking about,
what,
dude?
Mike Florio take a quote out of context and make it seem slightly worse than it was?
Because here's the headline, and it said, Doug Peterson on Jawan Taylor. I'm sure officials have been notified after week one. And my initial reaction was like, wait a second, Doug. This dude was your right tackle last year. What are you talking about? This is what he did for you all last year. Now, in the full context of the quote, he went on to say, obviously, he was here last year, and we know he's really good at timing the snap, basically. This is funny to me still. Like, this is how Jawan Taylor plays. The refs aren't going to throw a flag every single play, first and foremost. We think a ref maybe before the game is going to actually talk to Jawan Taylor and be like, hey, man, we're going to call this. No, you're not. You're not going to call it all day long.
And if they did, it would only be now. Like, it's now or never. They're not going to just, wait 7 weeks from now and then throw 10 flags on Jawan Taylor in the middle of an NFL game. They're either going to warn him that he is flirting a dangerous line and they are more willing to put some pressure on it, or they are going to ignore it forever.
He is going to have a false start at some point. Nobody's saying he never false starts. That's never what we've been saying. But the every single play thing, no, it's how he lines up, and he's perfected the timing of it. It looks like he's false start, which means he's getting a great jump every single snap, which is a good thing. It's part of his game. So I'm not really too concerned about it. I mean, yes, there's probably some coaches that are going to make sure it's pointed out, but this is something he's done going back to last year and before, I believe. I don't know if he was doing it in college at Florida or whatever, but it goes back to at least last year. There's film on it. There's multiple people that have broken it down.
I mean, at this point, and he's still like, I understand he softens up by saying, well, he was with us, but he's still like, I'm sure they've been notified. He wants it on record.
Of course.
That Jawan Taylor is skirting a line, and he's trying to get an advantage for his team based on that. The league doesn't care. He is, like, here's part of the problem. One of the best offensive tackles in the NFL does the exact same thing. It is technically within the lines. And it's the same as the tush push or any of these other things. And to be honest, now that I've watched Jawan Taylor do it and I see how far back he's lining up, I am not sure why more teams don't coach it that way.
I don't think it's easy.
It is a distinct advantage for the right tackle to at least be standing several yards back of the ball, because now when guys like Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa or whoever, TJ Watt are coming at you, you've got a few more yards of space and time to try to negotiate. There's nothing wrong with that. The Matt Derrick, by the way, had some contract stuff out on Chris Jones. He said the extra money that he got, the $6.57 million in incentives, they made an option bonus that added 4 void years to the end of his contract, something the Chiefs have noticeably avoided.
Interesting.
So they want to
it's
give
not
him
a large number. It's a small amount of money, but still, it's,
4 void years. So what are they, like, paying him like $1.25 million each per year?
That's probably how they separate it out. I mean, it's normally void years. It's a much higher dollar amount, so it's not as devastating as. And this is why they don't do it, because it can be. That is definitely surprising to hear that. But if it's over 4 years, I mean, you're right. We're talking a very small amount of money, though, to where it's not going to.
If it's spaced out evenly, it's $1.5 million.
It's not going to screw them the way like a void year on a Beckham contract with the Ravens is going to potentially mess with their cap.
No, and there's plenty of guys you can look at. I mean, across the board, there are guys who take void years in that are like $8 or $9 million against the cap, and they're just accepting the fact that they're paying that guy, that player, and he's not really under contract. I haven't yet seen a player who gets the void year contract sign an extension back with that team. Because even though they're void years, you could still technically bring them back and give them a new deal and do all those things. But the void years, to me, is always the way of indicating we have no real intention of keeping you here forever. Like Odell Beckham. It's like, our plan is to have you here for like 2 years, and then we're done here, right? The void years, to me, always signified this is it. We're just going to keep paying you a little bit.
Or a team that doesn't have any cap space.
Which is the Chiefs, who now have like $100,000
I mean,
in cap space.
To me, it's also just an indication of like, we just don't have the room to make it work now, so we can push the problem down the road.
Maybe. It's at least interesting that they, for the first time, we've talked about it. I've asked, because when they were talking about the Odell Beckham deal, I'm like, is there any reason why you're not taking advantage of something the rest of the league seems to be doing from a contract or salary cap perspective? And now they're involved from a salary cap perspective, choosing to instead, employ that option. Back to Taylor for a little bit.
Yeah.
There's just no reason to think this is going to be a consistent problem. Every other team in the league is going to hate the Chiefs for it.
It's not, Cody, it's not a problem for anybody except for people watching at home. Nobody else had a problem. The only people that had a problem with it was Chris Collinsworth for a little bit, and then random NFL fan that's not a Chiefs fan. That's the only people that had a problem with it.
Yeah, I think if you're the fan of the opposing team, you're always like, he's cheating. Because let's be honest, in the Super Bowl, Lane Johnson was doing this, and there was a time that even I was like, is he false starting every time, or am I crazy? And Chiefs fans are like, he's false starting every time. And now that I've seen it and understand the study behind it and watch like the close-up film of how tight Jawan Taylor is to the snap, I'm like, nah, it's his style of play. It's not illegal. What he's doing is fine. It's just his style.
Yeah, someone pointed out on the text line. We saw this last year. He was on the Chiefs played the Jags twice last year. And it may have looked like that to you at home when you were watching him on the opposing team do it. It's clearly a skill and something that he's also taking advantage of. And I have as long as within the rules, no problem with it whatsoever.
No, why would I? Especially now that he's on
I don't think they're going to call it any different. If the Chiefs were concerned about that, that would have been something that Andy Heck and Andy Reid actually would have focused in on. I want to ask Danon Hughes about this before we get to the wide receivers, too. Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He joins us each and every Thursday throughout the football season. You'll hear him on the Chiefs radio network on Sunday as well. Dane, I wanted to get your perspective because we were just discussing Jawan Taylor and all this weird controversy around how he lines up and is he false starting every play. And we've mentioned there's some former offensive linemen that have done some videos saying this is just how he's always played, and he's just kind of taking advantage of a little bit of a gray area. What did you make of that? And is that something has it stood out to you when you've watched him?
Absolutely. I mean, it seems to be like a science. And the fact that I heard Doug Peterson said that he was going to warn the officials and is questioning it. I bet he wasn't questioning it last year or the year before. So it's one of those deals where you take full advantage of every opportunity. And when we talk about the game being a game of inches, like those are the inches. That could be the inches. It's not necessarily just about where the ball carrier falls forward versus falls backwards. That's another aspect of it. But the big aspect is, like, whatever way you can get an advantage, then use it. And if he can perfectly time the snap, and I saw a couple of clips where Creed had his hand on the ball and he was in his stance, and then you saw him drop step and nobody else moved, but the ball moved. And it was like, okay, well, this guy is totally in sync. And if he's got kind of this, this mantra about him, and he's had it throughout his career, like, let him use it. I mean, there's other guys, whether it's DeAndre Hopkins and how he pushes off guys, whether it's, receivers and how they use leverage and on fade stops or back shoulder throws or et cetera, or back in the day when it was Peyton Manning and how he was able to, and Aaron Rodgers, how they were able to draw people off sides with their cadence. Like, it's not cheating. It's just using something to your advantage. And as long as he doesn't false start, like, I'm good with it.
I think this is the way, like, Doug Peterson plays the game. It's always the same. Because going into any opponent for, like, last year, people would be like, hey, Jamar Chase, he's getting that arm out all the time. You're like, yeah, we all know he does it. But the NFL is one very simple rule, which is if you were consistent, Danon, they're not going to call it on you 400 times in a game. Maybe you get one bugged against you, but if that's the way it always looks, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And let's be clear, every coach does it. Every defensive player, you don't believe Max Crosby, or Allen this week or whomever else will be going to the officials when they give a handshake or at the coin toss or between series saying, hey, ain't that guy offside? Ain't he moving early? Like, it happens. Andy just doesn't say it in the press like Doug wants to say it. But every coach does it because all you're doing is looking for the one time that the officials have eagle eyes and catch it. And that's the one negative play that happens. So, like, what goes on the sideline, I know we hear coaches and we are privy to coaches and players being mic'd up, but just because we don't hear the mic'd up part doesn't mean that they're just silent. Like, those guys are in the ears of the officials on the sideline for everything. Oh, that DN looks like he's offsides. Isn't he kind of close? He's in the neutral zone. Like, that's all that's happening on the sideline in the ears of the officials anyway. So to be able to say it during the week, like, it's just part of the game. And you just hope that because Doug's putting a spotlight on it, and we've seen it on ESPN and all the talk shows on Friday and throughout the weekend, that the officials that are officiating the game this week aren't going to be like, we need to correct this, because to me there's nothing to correct. I mean, he's got his shoulders square, he's got his head over the ball, he's not infringing upon being in the backfield except for his back leg, and you can do that. You can have your back leg as long as the rest of your body is square to the line of scrimmage and you're over the hips of the guard, then you're fine. Now, the other challenge I have, and I wonder how much of an effect it would be, is that's all great for pass protection if he's able to protect that front side of Patrick Mahomes, but I get concerned about the tell when it's a pass play versus a run play. And because we weren't very efficient in the run game, like, it's easy. If I break the huddle on defense and I see this guy setting up with his right leg in the backfield, okay, well, there's a very, very, very good chance that is not a run play. So now I can pin my ears back, or I can make the necessary adjustments defensively prior to the snap to get pressure on the quarterback. Well, what happens when he brings his foot up? Now, is there a 80% chance, a 82% chance that it's a run play? And then we'll be able to make the adjustments there. So those are the analytics that go into game planning against our offense that concern me when it comes to, his stand.
Talking to Dane Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. You'll hear him on the Chiefs radio network this Sunday. All right, Kadarius Toney, I'm really curious to get your perspective on what was going on last Thursday. Obviously, drops all over the place. What does that do for the psyche of a wide receiver? And can you relate it all to what perhaps he's feeling like? And is this a concern that if you don't get him the football quickly on Sunday, is this something that can linger all year?
I don't think it can linger all year. These guys, they got to this level because they know how to catch the football. And there are times where, whether it's the circumstances, it's the lights, it's because you hadn't been on the field much, or just because your hands get tripped up or you're bracing for contact or what have you, that it doesn't go your way. Like 99 out of 100 times, those passes will be caught. They catch them every day. One thing I noticed from a wide receiver standpoint, or a former wide receiver, is that you guys have been up to training camp. You guys have been at practice. You see the players that work extra hard to catch the ball. You ever see them catch the ball with their bodies? No, because you don't have to practice that. So to me, they just have to go back to the fundamentals of using those 10 fingers that God gave them to catch the football. And some of the basket catches or the attempts at basket catches, like those are the ones I want to see. Those stick the strong arms out there and catch the ball, pluck it out of the air, like we see some of the great receivers have done throughout their career. But I don't. Yeah, there's a concern with confidence. Anytime you have lack of success, there's always going to be a concern for confidence and how much that can drop. But I don't feel like week one, after being off for an entire training camp and practicing on a limited basis, is going to warrant any of that drop in confidence.
Now that we've seen that the Jets are going to be without Aaron Rodgers, this is one of the most important games on the schedule, right? Considering the fact that Jacksonville will be in line maybe for the number one seed, considering how easy their schedule is?
I think it's the most important game because it's the game right now, and it's the game after a loss. That's it. Like, to me, I don't put a lot of stock in what the end of the season could be because, heck, who knows what can happen. We've seen injuries. Heck, Aaron Rodgers goes down. Who doesn't? Not saying that I would wish injury upon everybody, but we've seen Patrick Mahomes go down. We've seen other quarterbacks go down, get injured, and then all of a sudden a team loses a game that they shouldn't have, and now we're back in a position to be in a number one seed and host the entire playoffs at Arrowhead Stadium. I mean, Fitzpatrick comes through in the clutch, and we're able to get the top seed. So anything can happen. I just think that, one, you have to always limit your losses, but you definitely have to limit the losses in your conference. And you also don't want to give a team like the Jaguars, who felt a little bit of confidence in how they played us the two times last year, you don't want to give them a boost that could propel them through the season. Like, you want to keep the teams that are behind you, and they're a team that we beat twice last year. They were relatively close games. This is their Super Bowl because they haven't been to one and they haven't had success at that level. And you want to be able to make sure that they know where they stand and that we are still the cream of the crop.
The running back situation after week one, do you think it was, hey, it's only week one and things are being felt out still? Do you think they're still concerned about Pacheco's shoulder? I was surprised to see the snap right out of the gate go into Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even though I believe the snap count ended up with Pacheco having more than any of the two backs.
Yeah, I feel like that's just par for the course with Andy. He's going to rotate, and a lot of times the personnel is already settled before the series starts. So going into the game in the West Coast offense, we used to script the first 16 plays. Now, we never got past 8 or 9 on the list because down in distance, field position could determine what play we would call, and it could change up that whole list. But what we did know is personnel. We knew what personnel was going to be on the field. We knew what the rotation would be, and I feel like that's the same with Andy. So it's purposeful. When you have a guy and we got to look at it from a big picture standpoint. You know that there's the ultimate confidence that Isaiah Pacheco has because of his success last year. You know that there's a height of confidence in Jerick McKinnon because of the success he's had. Clyde Edwards-Helaire not being active for the Super Bowl, being injured, relinquishing his starting role, maybe there's a portion of that game plan to get him going early, to keep him engaged and to keep him, activated at a high level, because you never know when you're going to need him. And you don't want to have a guy that has to sit on the sideline. After sitting on the sideline in your success in the previous year in street clothes, have to sit on the sideline and hope and wait to get in the game. Get him going early, because who knows? We may need him in week 15, 16, and 17 down the road just because of the nature of the game, not because Isaiah Pacheco is, brittle at some point, but just because of the nature of the game and how injuries flow.
Dane, it might be the only one you get of the year, so I might as well ask you. Do you like noon games?
Yeah, actually I do. I mean, we'll be flying down to Jacksonville. We have two of them, one on Christmas Day. I'm not sure about that one, if I'll like that one. Fortunately, I don't have any little kids, so it's not like anybody's going to be, waking up super early to open up gifts and I have to go to the stadium. But going on the road, 12 noon, I'll be home by 8, 9 o'clock that night. That's a perfect Sunday for me, and if we can steal a win, that makes it even better. So early games are not a problem for me.
All right, Dan, we appreciate it. Safe travels down to Jacksonville. We'll check in next week.
All right, fellas. Thanks.
There you go. That's former Chiefs wide receiver Danon Hughes. You'll hear him on the call over on 106.5 The Wolf this Sunday, along with Mitch Holthus, Dan Israel, and Josh Klingler. The running back, that was just that.
I'll be fascinated to see how it goes. I'm going to try to let it go for 1 week.
Yep.
Not think that I'm like in my head and that Andy's all of a sudden switching over to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But he's got a bit of a split personality running backs. He didn't just like stick with one just because he feels like it. He will interchange them, change roles, change jobs without letting anybody know.
Yeah, and if there's if you're saying that, hey, Clyde's going to still be working in the way, that's fine. Even more than Pacheco just not lining up right out of the gate as the quote-unquote number one back and getting the first touches, Jerick McKinnon, one touch, I think it was. That's someone that I would like to see a little more involved. Now, I know there's some school of thought that says, hey, they're just keeping him fresh for later in the year. Remember, he came on strong so late in the year.
Yeah, he came the second half of the year when he caught a touchdown every game for, 9 straight
Maybe they
games?
want to be careful. He's a year older as well. Maybe they want to be careful with him.
I'm fine with that.
That might be the logic, and that's fine. Like, if that's actually what the plan is, then I get it. Otherwise, I don't understand why he's not going to get more involved, and hopefully that changes. Otherwise, just go with the plan. If you want to tell me right now that they're just saying, hey, we're going to be really careful with him the first 10 weeks of the season. We want him fresh late. Okay, I'm fine. I'm good with that. But I hope Pacheco's a little more involved. In looking back at the last two matchups, Pacheco had over 80 yards rushing in both meetings last year against Jacksonville. I think it was 82 and 90-something. So I think they might lean on Pacheco in the run game a little bit more than we think come Sunday afternoon.
Texans give me a hard time.
Okay.
It says, Gold's in a polo. Why don't you dress nice for your job? You're just in a hoodie.
I just threw on jeans and a polo today.
I said, first off, the general notion is dress for the job you want. I'll be honest. This is how everyone in radio dresses. Look at Drew. He just wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
Just like me. Right? Same as me. Now, it is a Cincinnati Bengals.
Unfortunately.
And, you got the same problem that is like if you buy Chiefs gear that is just like yellow, orange is a very aggressive color for like the solid color. Like if I were a Cincinnati fan, I feel like I would go with the black gear that just had a little orange on it, not something that's like primary orange.
Do you want me to have my Bengals shirt underneath the black one out instead?
Wait, do you have a Bengals shirt on underneath it?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you always double layering your gear? Wasn't that the other day he was doing that too?
I don't know. You paid way more attention to his clothing than I do.
No, we were talking about it on the air. I think he had something on underneath. He had the hoodie.
I did, yes.
And the hoodie under the jersey, remember? We talked about this on
in the
show.
wintertime, that makes sense. If you're going to a football game, have the hoodie under the jersey. I've seen that a lot at a football game in November or December.
I thought about it for a while, and I think I used to draw some sort of issue with the idea that, like in a normal day life, you're just going to, you're going to go to the store today.
Okay.
The idea of you wearing like a Chiefs hoodie and a Chiefs hat and a Chiefs shirt, it's like, I don't know, man. It's a lot of team layering for not going to a game. But you know what? I've decided to let people just be happy.
I was going to say,
if this is what they want to wear, I think
you.
there was a time in my life when I might be like, tone it down a little. But now, you know what? You want to wear your Chiefs shirt with your Chiefs hoodie on top and your Chiefs hat and your Chiefs socks. So what? You're not going to the game. Just live your life.
You're growing. I was about to give you a hard time for saying, man, why do you care so much what people are wearing? Why do you care what other people wear?
Let it go.
I think that's smart. I think that's really smart. Just let people, people do their thing. That's exactly right. It's exactly how this should go. All right, coming up next, though, we get to the 11 o'clock hour. A big advantage you think is still coming for the Chiefs.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
You talk on the radio. Yeah. You're a fanboy.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Where can you find steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless, and occasionally random stuff in the bat? The Foot, who has an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire. The Foot, who is KC's and Topeka's only stocking dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment. The Foot, who is KC's and Topeka's only Fronius authorized service and repair center. The Foot, where can you go to take a Fronius welder for a test drive? The Foot, where can you find Colossus, your friendly neighborhood robot? The Foot, just like Colossus, Metal by the Foot stands tall and ready to help both pro and DIY warriors with their metal needs. For over 35 years, Metal by the Foot has continued to up their game by providing you with the convenience and selection of metals you have come to expect. Discover new and unique quality products to take your project and skills to the next level. Get instant pricing on most items at metalbythefoot.com. That's metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Your moments, your milestones, your love story all deserve to shine bright. You don't need an occasion. You and your life are the event. So put on earrings that make you sparkle, diamonds that light up the room, an heirloom you'll treasure for years to come. We're all made to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Hey everybody, this is Andrew Filipponi here, bringing you the parlay of the day, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Thursday night football, the Eagles and Vikings. Last year in week 2, this game was a blowout. For this one, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts over his passing prop of 248.5. Minnesota's defense is not New England's. Pair him with Devonta Smith over 63.5 receiving yards. The Vikings have new corners. They gave up big plays to the Bucs receivers last week. I'm actually taking Justin Jefferson to go under his receiving prop. The Eagles have 2 legit #1 corners, and they held Jefferson under 50 yards in this matchup last year. This 3-leg parlay pays around 5-1. That's it for the parlay of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app today and make every moment more with America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in Kansas. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
What makes for a great vacation? Depends on who you ask. Are you looking to get away or bring everyone together? Do you want to get outside and play or see a play at the plate? Fortunately, however you operate, I'm the destination you've been looking for. The name's Missouri, but you can call me Mo. And I have just one question. What's your MO? Come see me at visitmo.com.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals and will share information with them to evaluate and process your claims. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. You can trust Innovation Refunds with your small business's ERC claim because of their SOC 2 Type 1 security compliance. And if you're a tech person, you know that's a big deal. I'm not a tech person, but I did look it up. Without this certification, how can you be sure a company can protect your information? It's not like here on the radio, where all you need to be secure is a sensor button. Check it out. So now you won't know my date of birth is or that my social security number is the password to my bank account is Ty's Cool Password 1. Uh-oh, the button's broken. Luckily, Innovation Refunds is more reliable. Don't wait. Go to innovationrefunds.com. That's innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS to get started. Oh, a notification from my bank. Wait, I didn't buy a boat.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motor Studios.
Hey Chiefs fans, it's Patrick Mahomes. Catch me every Monday with CDOT during the season on your official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, 11 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the trash of the day coming up in just a little bit as well. Thanks to Dane and Hughes for joining us. We'll also talk to our guy Josh Vernier coming up at 12:30 today. A little Royals baseball as it is truly the home stretch now. About 2.5 weeks or so to go in the baseball season. But going back to the Chiefs as we're looking ahead to the Jags game on Sunday, it's 1 week into the season, but you already think you've found something that's going to be a big advantage. No, it's not just Chris Jones and Travis Kelce coming back.
We knew it would take a year, maybe even 2, and we are officially there. This week in the NFL was the fewest amount of pass attempts over 15 yards since 2006. You know why? All of that conversation we got to spend for a whole year about too high safety looks, making them take singles. There are NFL coaches already on record this year quoted in articles saying, we're not going to let those guys hit home runs. We're going to make them all go for singles. And the reason why it is a massive advantage for the Chiefs is they've already been doing it. They already worked out the kinks. They solved the way that they were going to operate their offense when teams forced them to be singles hitters. Now the whole rest of the league, all these quarterbacks who've been swinging for the fences, all these teams who've been massive play teams, they're going to have to figure out and reorganize their system in a way that accommodates this. That, to me, is part of the reason why quarterback play as a whole, for the most part, looked bad in week 1. There were a lot of really good quarterbacks who looked bad. Herbert didn't look all that good. Burrow looked pretty good. Burrow looked terrible. Burrow, what was it, just like Herbert and Tua? Before I list quarterbacks, Tua and Herbert looked pretty good, and everyone else looked bad? Are we just like, we can just kind of lump everyone else in together? There wasn't
it was a lot of sloppy play. A lot of sloppy play. Quarterback snap exchanges were, center to QB exchange was rough across the board.
I just think it's their No, everyone's going to take weeks and weeks and weeks, maybe in the full year to adjust to it. It took the Chiefs almost a full season to figure out how to be successful under that. So unless they're just going to go to the tape from the Chiefs last year and just start trying to copy exactly what they do, people aren't as smart as Andy Reid. It's going to take a lot of these teams very serious adjustment.
I think there's an adjustment period now. They can also see how the Chiefs adjusted and copycat the same way. I mean, so I don't know if it'll take them as long as it maybe took the Chiefs in season to adjust. It's also week 1, so I'm a little hesitant to say that that's why we saw poor QB play. I think it was a lot of teams do not play their starters in the preseason. We have to remind ourselves in week 1 and 2, and this is where the Chiefs, even though they lost, they looked better than some of the other teams because they have a grueling camp. They do play the starters in the preseason. I typically disagree with that philosophy, but Andy Reid's teams are ready to go quicker in the season. So if that's the case, then it is the right decision. And this time they ended up with a loss in week 1, but prior to that, I think they had won 8 in a row in week 1. And so I think some of this more than how teams are going to start playing defenses, and the Chiefs already had to go through that process, and that might be true, and we'll find out over the next couple weeks as well. I think some of it, man, is just teams were sloppy, and they weren't ready to go out of the gate because they didn't get a shake off the rust. Or they could if they chose to. They just didn't.
And someone's like pointing out, it's like when you have Kelsey and you have to hit singles, it's like he's essentially just batting 800. It's like the equivalent of it doesn't matter because you have the best singles hitter in the game, right? There's advantages for these teams who do have really good, speedy possession receivers. Hell, it's kind of what makes Miami impressive in that last game is I don't know if it's going to come back to burn them. They were like the only team that was like, screw it, we're just going to throw the ball way the hell down the field. And some of that might just be because they have Travis Kelce or have Tyreek Hill. When you have Tyreek Hill, there's no amount of like slowing you down from a short game perspective that exists. But it is an advantage for Kansas City because this is now the second time in a row where the league has to adjust them first. The Chiefs have to make all their changes and people think that their offense is coming back to the normal and they figure it all out. And then the rest of the league has to figure it all out. I really think that it equated to a lot of the bad quarterback play. Look at the passing yardage leaders from last week and realize how few quarterbacks could get the ball down the field at all in week 1. You might even be like, well, didn't the Cowboys score like 40 points? Didn't Dak Prescott have like less than 200 yards?
Yeah, I mean, their defense scored 2 touchdowns, yeah.
Yeah, that was...
And they were up, 20-something, 27 at halftime or something along those lines. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you that the QB play, anybody that plays fantasy football noticed it very easily, right?
Yeah, we all got like 6 points out of our starting quarterbacks.
So I get what you're saying. I want to see a couple more weeks, though.
Before you decide?
I think some of it, maybe it's a combination of both, honestly. It's a little bit of, hey, teams have to adjust how they're being played, and I think they will. But also, I just think it's a lot of rust. I mean, the first reaction I had watching the first half of football, based off of through Red Zone even, it was, man, this is just really sloppy. I was watching the first half with a buddy of mine, and we both were like, this is just really sloppy play. And my guess is that's going to get cleaned up just because they're going to be in week 2, week 3, and we'll see a lot better.
To me, it's like just look at the pass attempts per yardage. This is how you know that you're getting less out of it. Mac Jones did get 316 yards, the 4th most in the NFL last week. He had to throw the ball 54 times to do it. C.J. Stroud, 44 times to just get 242 yards. Trevor Lawrence threw it 33 times for just 241 yards. Mahomes threw it 39 times for 229. Now, we know part of what happened there. I'm not going to deny he just had less completions across the board as a result of that. His yardage probably would have been further up. But it's like Justin Fields 37 times for 216 yards. They were making everyone play inside of 10 yards. Nobody is letting you go deep right now until somebody finds like the world beater in this. And the Chiefs' world beater wasn't, we'll just keep going deep and we'll find out the route concepts that worked. When the Chiefs beat the cover 2 and they eventually figured out how to be better against it, they just were better as a short yardage passing team and did it all in yards after the catch. So you're going to have really good skill position players on some of these other teams. I think the Chiefs are ahead, so I'm not worried about how they're going to handle it. Their problems were drop related. The rest of the NFL might have to figure out how to do it. I don't even look like Jalen Hurts threw the ball 33 times for 170 yards. It made everyone throw the ball short. Everyone.
I have a question for you guys. So based on how things have gone, we're heading towards maybe 2 preseason games if they move to 18. The thing, though, is, like, would you guys rather have that sloppy play early on for maybe the first 2 weeks but have less preseason games, or would you rather have the say 3 preseason games now, and coaches are playing those guys. And even though the games don't count, by the time you get to week 1 and the games do count, you have more sophisticated communication and chemistry throughout.
I mean, as a fan, I don't need any preseason games.
Are you willing to watch the regular season games have a sloppy product?
I mean, I was pumped up. I watched just more football. I mean, I mean, I don't need preseason. So it's going to be hard to convince me that more preseason games, and also there's just no scenario where I see the NFL also going back to another preseason game anyway.
I also just don't. I'll take sloppy football over crisp preseason games. Nah, that's fine. I'll take real football.
Trying to look at the passing leaders from week 1 last year, just to all right, is this just a one-off? So last year, this was last season, Tom Brady led the league in passing week 1, 432 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. The next highest was Jared Stidham at 360.
What?
Yeah.
Jared Stidham.
Hold on, let me make sure that's correct. Week 1.
The Raiders?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm clicking week 1, I swear, on this chart, and it keeps going back to weeks. That was week 17 last year. I keep clicking week 1, and it's not letting me.
I was like, wait, was he even the starter?
I keep clicking week 1. It's not going to work for me. I was trying to pull up week 1 in
You were
comparison.
trying to make a point. I get it.
Well, I just wanted to see. I was going to learn on the fly with you.
I mean, I can see everyone's week 1, but I can't see it rated against other people.
Anyway.
2 had 270. Matt Ryan threw for 352. Jalen Hurts. Burrow threw for 338, although we knew he threw, 4 picks last year in the opener?
I guess my point is that I wonder if it's just what happens in week 1.
There were 7 300-yard passers in week 1 last year.
Okay.
There were 5 this season, but I would tell you right now that there were, there were only...
But you also had this year a 466
only
yard
one under
passer.
200, and there were, well, I'm not saying last year's leading passer in week 1 was probably Matt Ryan at 352, it appears.
Matt Ryan, there you go, Jets.
No, take it back. It was Mahomes at 360. Of course it was Mahomes. But, I get it. It wasn't the 400 number. But for the guys who threw under 200, there was only 1 last year, and there were more than that this year. For the guys who threw under 230, there was more this year. For the guy, I'm just saying it's like the yardage still sometimes will add up. But I think the reason why you saw these teams have a hard time getting points up there, maybe it's sloppy play because it's week 1. But I also telling you that this is the first, that stat alone, that this is the least amount of attempts over 15 yards since 2006 should tell you they're not pushing the ball down the field. Take out the total yardage and the attempt part of this conversation if you want. It's been almost 20 years since somebody took the ball less down the field than they did in this game.
Do you think that's going to continue this week?
I think that there will be less deep play in football this year, yes. Because we saw it affect the Chiefs for an entire season. So I assume that this is going to affect the NFL now for an entire season.
We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 7 minutes or so. We know when we're looking at these offenses and how teams are spending money, right? Are they going to invest on the offensive side of the ball? Are they going to invest on the defensive side of the ball? We just saw the Chiefs, of course, not that they weren't willing to invest in Chris Jones. They were. They just weren't able to get to terms on a deal. But we have said in Kansas City, at least time and time again, that when you have Patrick Mahomes, while some people want them to just go sign every single wide receiver possible, I believe that they should use that money on the defense because Mahomes can elevate guys. I know after week 1, you're like, oh, no, he can't. It wasn't his fault. Kadarius Toney dropped the ball a million times. He can elevate guys around him. Defensively, I think that's where you spend more of your capital and money right now while Mahomes is still in his 20s and soon to be early 30s.
So that seemingly, I went back and listened to Brett Veach press conference after they had traded away Tyreek Hill, and that seemed to be the way he was leaning too, but they just didn't give the money to Chris Jones on a long-term deal, so
they
now
tried.
I'm confused.
They
Here's
tried.
what Brett Veach had to say about the decisions with Tyreek and how it impacts their future roster.
You're faced with the decision, do you dip into the older veteran pass rush market? If you do that, then how are you going to pay Tyreek, and then how does Tyreek feel about that? If you do the Tyreek thing, then you're limited in regards to your resources being able to be spent on defense plus future. With that type of deal, it would be impacted to a great deal. So when we took a step back and we figured, well, how are we going to get better on both sides, and that's why we decided it was best for us and really best for Tyreek getting that contract. So it was kind of a win-win in that situation.
So he's admitting the exact same thing as you.
That was right after the Tyreek Hill trade over a year ago.
Yeah, so what he's saying is, hey, we had to let go of Tyreek so we can be good on both sides of the ball. And Veach is admitting pretty much the same thing you are, which is Patrick Mahomes will make us good on this side of the ball.
Yep.
But then you didn't spend the money. You saved all the money you had an elite level defensive player on your staff and you still needed to do it. So where's the money going now, I guess is my question. Is it just going to a different defensive player? Because here's the thing. I don't think you're going to find someone on a 3-year deal that is as dominant as Chris Jones. Well, so where are you spending the cash?
I'm laughing because, well, no kidding, man. Chris Jones is one of those special players, so it has nothing. Take the money out of it for a second.
3 good players versus one great one. Is that the argument?
Take the money out of it for a second. Chris Jones is one of the elite talents in the game. So obviously, if it was so easy to just go find another Chris Jones wouldn't be getting paid much whatsoever. I mean, that's literally why he is who he is a special player. Now, to answer your question of are they not going to spend any money? I'll push back a little bit on that because they did just try, number one, to spend money on Chris Jones. It's not like they said no.
Come on, this is the third time we've said that the Chiefs have tried to. They don't get credit for constantly trying to do things.
No, but you're acting like they're not spending any money on the defense. They tried to give money to Chris Jones. The deal didn't come together. They invested draft capital after that Tyreek Hill trade in a corner with the number 1 pick, the first time Brett Veach ever traded up in the first round to get Trent McDuffie. Right? They spent last year pick 28 on a defensive end. This year they spent their first-round pick on a defensive end. So I'll push back that they're not spending money. It's
We're
resources.
Talking about cash. Yeah, but he's talking about money.
Yeah, so if
physical money.
If
and
Chris
none of those
Jones,
things you talk about are money.
I'm very. Did you want them to just go spend money to spend money this offseason? I'm confused.
Come on, no. That's never been my stance. And I know that's like your go-to into this is like, well, they're just going to spend to spend. No, I want them to spend.
Well, my go-to, because it's my response every time you bring this up. You're right.
They're saying that they can't pay Tyreek because they need to pay defensive players. And what I'm telling you they aren't paying any defensive players right now. So what is the plan for that money? Like, at some point, did you spend it somewhere else? Did it not go where it was meant to be? Because they did spend big money on Jawan Taylor in the offseason. So they did take some money that they had available to them.
Yes.
And they spent it on the offensive side of the ball, not the defensive side of the ball.
You don't like my answer when I say, well, spend money. Like, I'm confused. When we look at the defensive roster right now, where do you think they need to be overpaying players currently?
I would not overpaying. By the way, it's not just paying someone does not mean overpaying.
No, but like
what
you're,
if they actually get a good player for that money?
You said you're trying to figure out where they're spending their money. I'm telling you, they have 11 guys starting on defense. They have guys on rookie contracts who we praise them for. Where do you think they need to be spending more money?
This is more about going forward because they have to pay Chris Jones this year. There's no doubt.
Sure. So next offseason, when Chris Jones walks, my guess is they're going to go either explore the free agent defensive line market, either trade for another one, or go spend a high draft pick on one. You're correct. That's where they're trending. I don't know why it's not a problem that they're not. I don't get it.
It's the notion that he is not. If you are going to spend it, you shouldn't let players like Chris Jones go. If you're going to sell me the story that is, I'm letting go of Tyreek so that we can stay good on defense, and then I let an elite defensive player go, hypothetically, because at this point it would seem like it's leaning that way, then you're not really holding up. They're
right up against the cap this year.
Why wouldn't you spend it on him versus anyone? We're going to talk in the hypothetical. You're like, just throw money to any defensive end who might be available. As it sits right now, 2 of their top 10 players that are paid are on the defensive side of the ball. One is Chris Jones, only for this final year. And one is, what's their next highest paid player? I'm sure it's.
I'll be honest, I'm not trying to be an a-hole, but I don't really get your issue with this at all. Like you want them to have more money on the books next year. You're it's not enough for you.
I'm asking hypothetically, what is their plan with this money? Because he told me his plan, and it's not his plan, at least at the moment. He said, my plan is to pay good defensive players so that we can be good. He's not doing that right now. He's letting Chris Jones finish out his final year of his contract.
Yeah, but you told me you think they can be a top 10 defense this year. So I'm seemingly, it seems like they've built a pretty damn good roster for this year. And if you want to tell me, Gold, I'm talking about the future, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I give you the answer to that as well. My guess is if Chris Jones walks, they're going to, have to go spend money. I just don't know what the problem is here.
Because if the plan always was, why wouldn't you just keep Chris Jones?
Won a Super Bowl last year.
Now you're
a championship caliber roster. I don't know really. Again, I really don't know what the problem is.
I don't understand why they wouldn't just pay Chris Jones if this was the original plan.
Because he wanted to potentially make $32 million a year. And then we'd be bitching in a year that he overpaid for him, and he's 31 years old, and he's not productive. And why did he make that move 2 years earlier? That's what the conversation would be.
I don't think it always goes that way. I don't think it always goes the way where you pay a player and they stink. Like, you're just already writing it off if they had paid them the money. But the free agent, the hypothetical free agent defensive end they're signing next offseason is a great signing in your mind. It's already done. It's good.
I don't say that. But it might be $25 million less. It might be $25 million less, Cody.
25. Wait, on a total contract? You're not talking per year, right? You didn't think
total contract.
Okay. It was like, for a second, I thought you were suggesting somebody's making like $7 million a year. I was like, wait, back up.
Let me.
But you think great defensive line play is available in the free agent market for $50 million?
Didn't use the word great. That's you adding a word there.
Very good?
I think that next year they can go out and find another defensive lineman and go through the draft. But if you're going back to the very beginning of
Draft
this,
is different. I'm fine
going
with
back to the very beginning of this conversation, what did I say? I said you're never going to replace Chris Jones. Nobody's arguing that they can go find another Chris Jones. If another Chris Jones existed, Cody, he would not be getting $32 million this season from the Kansas City Chiefs.
What's kind of funny about this is this feels very similar to a conversation I would have had at the time with people regarding Alex Smith. And there was this whole big thing at the time where people were like, hey, I can just pay Ryan Fitzpatrick way less money. Hold on. I know, but it sounds similar in a way.
Though.
But you're not even listening to my argument.
I know where you're going. You're going to say that they could have got comparable quarterback play, and people argue they could spend a little bit less money on another quarterback instead of Alex Smith. I've heard that argument as well. We can play this game both ways. You said you've heard my answer. I've heard yours too.
I can get a defensive end for. You're telling me that though. You're saying I can get a defensive end in the free agent market for 75 cents on the dollar. I don't want 75% of the player of Chris Jones.
That's
I just
not
want
what I'm
Chris
saying,
Jones.
dude. Not what I'm saying whatsoever. I told you I wanted them to sign Chris Jones to a long-term contract. You're asking me, what's their plan if he's not on the team? I'm telling you what their plan is. You're saying the only plan is paying Chris Jones or your SOL, and I'm telling you that's not the only plan.
I mean, there's other people you can pay, but I just, at some point, I think it's
You're
more
not getting
likely
15 and a half sacks from anybody else in free agency. Not making that argument whatsoever. Somehow other teams have found ways to build good rosters, Cody, without having the number 2 defensive lineman in football on their team. It's amazing, but they've been able to do it. And my guess is they've done it through the draft. And what is one thing we've praised Brett Veach for the last 2 years?
So the draft,
building through the draft.
You're unfairly attaching the draft to this entire argument.
But that's part of the plan, Cody. It's part of the plan.
This is a conversation about money. There's no doubt that part of his plan
ends up being money as well.
Yeah, but it's not the kind of money that he was talking about when he let Tyreek go. He was talking about the massive impact of that salary cap versus what might be available to them on the defensive side of the ball. Not who they might draft. I'm glad that they've this previous draft, I told you I wanted them to spend 5 or 6, I don't remember what the number was, but like a larger percentage of their defensive on their draft on the defensive side of the ball, which they did. Because of things like this that might go down.
All right, question for you guys. To interject here for just a second. Regarding the same topic, before we get to Trash of the Day real quick, you look at some of the unrestricted free agents. They have Drew Tranquill, Willie Gay, Mike Edwards, some of these other guys. How many of them do you think were going to leave? Say you sign Chris Jones to that long-term deal, Cody. How many of these guys that build up your starting 11 do you think they lose as a result? Because I think some of the money, maybe not all of it, can be used to go to those guys to keep that defense there, and then you bring in a guy, a high draft pick, that you hope can pan out with your development, but you still keep a base of that defense around.
Maybe part of their conversation is maybe Brett Veach meant he was going to buy 5 players for 1, and that was the whole plan. But the Chiefs have just essentially been telling you to chase your tail on that for years, which is, oh, we're going to spend this money on keeping other guys, and then the other guys just keep leaving. They're not giving those guys the money. They're still putting more money, more monetary resources on the offensive side of the ball. It's not particularly close. I'm telling you that I actually think that what Brett Veach was talking about is the right plan, which is invest more of your capital on the defensive side of the ball so that you can consistently be good. Right now, their 5 highest paid players, 3 are on offense. Their 10 highest paid players, 8 are on offense. They aren't spending the way that he was talking about. We're going to let Tyreek Hill go, and we're going to put that money on the defensive side of the ball, and then that way we are great at both. Right now, they are spending a majority of their resources on offense, not on defense.
Yeah.
So at what point is this money, this hypothetical money you're either not going to give to Chris Jones now or not give to Tyreek Hill, at what point are you putting that into major contracts on the defensive side? Maybe it is next year.
When there's someone else that's worthy of said contract. I don't have the answer who that is, but whenever that happens.
The last 2 guys were worthy of the contract,
and
he didn't pay them.
Well, we
you see what I'm saying?
We can talk for 5 more hours and go in circles about this.
The text line is fantastic.
They offered a contract to Chris Jones for high money. We're acting like now, like Brett Veach decided not to offer a record-setting deal at one point to Chris Jones, and essentially it would have been pretty close until the Nick Bosa deal was signed. So that's all I'm saying. It's like, and also, do we think the roster is not going to be championship caliber next year because he maybe is differing from his plan from 2 years ago? It doesn't really matter to me. Anyway, let's go to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, let's get off of that for a little bit. And let's go and talk about McDonald's, huh? It's a happy place. McDonald's is a kid. Happy place.
Happy place?
Happy place is a kid, right? McDonald's has confirmed it plans to eliminate self-service soda machines at its restaurants by 2032. No more. Now, I haven't been inside a McDonald's in a very long time, I don't know when the last time you have kids, so maybe you've taken them inside the
They've
play.
gotten a Happy Meal sometime the last couple of
sure.
weeks.
That makes more sense.
Physically inside one, not super common.
They're getting rid of the self-service. It's going to save them a lot of money, and they don't think people, especially as we get further along, less and less people are going to go inside McDonald's locations. And so I'm assuming if McDonald's is doing this, Burger King and all these other places.
It's kind of inconvenient to go up to the front if you want a little more, though. Isn't that kind of annoying on that end? I'll say this. If this includes those absolutely garbage freestyle machines, then we're in business. Those are the worst version of any machine. Why is it that they taste so weird?
It's different. It's a little different.
What's wrong with these machines? The freestyle machines need to go.
It is
but if it's the
flavor.
old school, just like stick it. I mean, I don't mind going up there and get my own refill. Seems easier.
I think it's just expensive. And they're like, barely anybody's going inside the restaurants now. They're going drive-through. They're doing the quick curbside pickup stuff or door dashing. Like, it makes sense.
I mean, how often do you really sit inside of a fast food establishment?
It's been so long, man.
Sometime
so
last year,
long.
I've let my kids play in a play place and I sat inside there. But if it's not that, I am never eating, or we're on a long road trip, I am never just sitting down inside of a fast food restaurant and eating.
Yeah. What about you, Drew? Maybe when you were moving, I could see how you guys are driving from Indy
long
to
road trip.
Yeah, that
Sure.
makes sense.
Yeah. 100%. I just
what?
I'm trying to find something, and I've been listening to it, but I'm trying to find. There's a moment in Finding Nemo, and I couldn't find it, but the Starfish like, find a heavy place, and the text line was hilarious as you guys were. They're like, Drew, run.
Oh,
we're all going to be on the same side now.
So good.
We're good. If you'll,
it was
Cody,
so much fun. I loved it.
Cody can tell you this as well. Like this is that might have been one of your. That wasn't even that intense arguments and disagreements.
That's in the middle.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was
not.
great.
That's not on the highest scale. That's not. And that's something that you'll get used to. That's no big deal. Text line's used to it.
I thought that was funny.
And we've done the show on. We know we move on.
I punch each other one time in the face in the break, and then it's over.
Yeah. So when we go to break, we each get one punch, and then we're good for the rest of the show. We're good.
Done.
All right, coming up next,
gosh.
we'll get to the Chiefs Red half hour, and we get back into what this game means on Sunday. I think if it means what I've been telling you it means, then this game has to move up the list of importance. We'll tell you why next.
Cody and Gold.
The facts on this show are irrelevant.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Whether it's a healthier weight or better poops, when people switch their dog's food from kibble to the farmer's dog, the effects can feel like nothing short of magic. But there are no magic ingredients, just real meat and vegetables with all the nutrients dogs need. Instead of dried pellets, it's simply smarter, healthier pet food delivered to your door in packs portioned for your dog. It's amazing what real food can do. Find out what it can do for your dog and get 50% off your first order at thefarmersdog.com/no magic.
Want a new car at a used car price? I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. Right now, we have a surplus of new cars, so everything is seriously discounted.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV. Hurry in before we run out of 2023s.
Don't miss our surplus sale at the #1 Volkswagen dealer in the Midwest. Visit VWLeaseSummit.com.
Based on 2022 VW retail reports, financing through VCI OIC. Call 816-841-7383 for details.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime. It's tailgate season and Smokehouse Barbecue has you covered. Whether you plan on going to a game or having the party at your house, Smokehouse Barbecue will be there with you. Plus, you can take advantage of their game day special. A slab of baby back ribs, a pound of burnt ends, a pound of wings, a quart of beans, paperware, and servings for 6, all for just $79.95. They also have private banquet rooms at all 3 KC locations. Check them out at SmokehouseBBQ.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Barbecue Whiskey Hotline, how can I help you? You're looking for a delicious combination of sweet barbecue and smooth American whiskey, savory, smoky heat, a barbecue lover's dream? Yeah, that would be Curveball Barbecue Whiskey. Yep, Curveball with a K. Curveball Barbecue Whiskey. Delicious sweet barbecue meets smooth American whiskey. Happy to help.
Drink Curveball and be a bonehead responsibly. Over 21. Find Curveball at Target, Hy-Vee, and Lucas Liquors, or ask your liquor store for Curveball Whiskey. That's Curveball with a K. Curveball Barbecue Whiskey.
Kansas City, it's time to cheer on our Kansas City team. Head into Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway Sunday, September 17th and watch our team on a giant screen. While watching, you could win $3,000 in Penn bonus play or a $1,000 KC tailgate package. Don't miss any of the action this season at Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Here's another Outdoor America fishing tip presented by Wholesale Batteries. The right battery the first time. Here's the host of Outdoor America, Tommy Bench.
Folks, when you're fishing over streams, these shallow water river systems, you know, in the middle of the summer, the water's low, the water's clear. What are these fish doing? They're cruising up and down, looking for food. So here's a tip I'm going to give you that's going to utilize your casting and catch you more fish, put more fish in the boat for you. Always throw as far in front of the boat as you can, because these fish will cruise up and down in some really shallow water. That's what they're doing, is looking for food deep. So try to throw as far in front of that boat before they see you, because if they see you before you see them, game over 90% of the time. You can always slow down and throw behind the boat, but that's going to catch you more fish. Catch them before they catch you.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, heard every Saturday morning at 5 a.m. on 610 Sports Radio, presented by Wholesale Batteries.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died, and
I need a jump again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Is your old boiler making some less than positive noises? It could be on the way out. Why wait until it gets ice cold outside to find out it's going to be ice cold inside? Up here, winter doesn't play, and neither do Navien boilers. You know Navien for their industry-leading tankless water heaters, but Navien also offers high-efficiency boilers built with quality materials, a compact design, and a strong warranty. Take advantage of a federal tax credit of up to $600. Take that chill outside with Navien boilers, the ultimate heating and comfort experience. Find your local Navien boiler installer at boilercomfort.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died, and
I need a jump again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there,
and even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Mostly sunny and pleasant today with a high of 83. Weather brought to you by Barbasol Shaving Cream. Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. Close shave, America. Close shave Barbasol.
This report is brought to you by KC Customs. We put the customs in KC. KC-Customs.com.
Want a new truck, Jeep, or SUV, but don't want a new payment? Then come by KC Customs. We'll turn your boring ride into one that turns heads and breaks necks. Set yourself apart from the crowd. Go to KC Customs. We put the customs in KC.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Thinking of the Chiefs, though, don't forget, a little bit later on this afternoon from 4 to 6, I'll be out at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Independence. Thanks to Bud Light. And we'll be registering you. You just have to scan a QR code to win Chiefs tickets. It's that simple. Just come on by, be out there for 2 hours, grab some wings as well, and all you got to do. You were out at a different location last week. Someone won a Travis Kelce autographed jersey this week.
I'll be at one in Belton next week.
So yeah,
and I'll have more tickets to upcoming Chiefs games then too.
Throughout the football season, Cody and I will be at a couple different Buffalo Wild Wings locations on Thursdays. This week, again, just so happens today, I'll be at the Independence location. But all you got to do, takes 2 seconds. You scan a QR code and you register to win Chiefs tickets. And I just saw there was an article a few days ago that mentioned like just how expensive tickets are this year, obviously coming off a Super Bowl win, to go to a Chiefs game. So why not? Especially if you happen to live in Independence. Hope to see you guys out there 4 to 6 today.
Keep an eye on those. Both us and the Wolf, obviously the home of the Chiefs, are doing these in conjunction. So they are every single week, every single Thursday, different Buffalo Wild Wings. All the stuff is either tickets to games or autographed memorabilia from Travis Kelce. Last week, because we just started it, people didn't realize what a good chance. They probably had a 1 in 80 chance of getting an autographed Travis Kelce jersey. He was like calling his dad from the parking lot after he'd won it. He was like, "Oh, I wouldn't believe it." He was very excited. And then,
as he should be,
but it's like autographed footballs, autographed jerseys, and tickets to games every single Thursday at local. It's not every Buffalo Wild Wings. Pay attention. It'll be both us and the Wolf at those. But yeah, you'll be at Independence tonight, 4 to 6.
Looking forward to that, man. Looking
to
forward
go
to
wings on Thursday Night Football. That's the play.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Good Thursday night game tonight. It should be, actually. Vikings and Eagles. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the show. But as far as Sunday goes for Kansas City, I think this game, despite it only being week 2, has major ramifications, and you even think that it should move up the scale of importance, because it's not about going 0-2 and worrying that suddenly, historically, prior to playoffs expanding, being included in this, it was 11% chance to make the playoffs if you start 0-2. But I think this has massive number 1 seed ramifications. It makes it awfully difficult, honestly, to go get the number 1 seed. You drop to 0-2. You lose a tiebreaker against a Jags team that I think can rack up 13-plus wins. They're in a crappy AFC South. They play the crappy NFC South on the other side, and they'd have the tiebreaker. So even if you told me the Chiefs got to 13, if the Jags get 13, they get you on that. So that's the challenge here, and that, to me, is actually what makes this game more important than maybe we did think before the season started.
It's one of the 2 or 3 most important games remaining on the schedule. I know Dayton earlier said, I don't want to look that too far ahead. We can. We're not players. We're not former players. We can look as far ahead as we want. I mean, honest to God, compare it to every single game and tell me it's less important than it. It's not over the next couple of weeks against the Bears, Jets, and Vikings. It's definitely more important than that game. I'm not going to put either Broncos game as more important than they haven't lost to them since 2015. Okay, one of the Chargers games, maybe both of the Chargers games. Maybe that Miami game's got some extra juice later in the year, right, than we have previously thought, certainly based on the way they're going. And we know Cincinnati's going to be on there. It is right up there with that Miami game, because Miami does still have a chance at the 1 seed now. I think that's reopened the AFC East now that Aaron Rodgers is gone, because now it's really just a 2-horse race in the East for that. But let's face the reality that they play in a weak division and play the weakest division. The Jags' schedule is a dream. And if you can just even yourself back up with them, you've got the easiest part of your schedule the next 3 weeks after this, and a very difficult schedule, but the easiest part of your schedule comes in the next 3 weeks. This can be just the leapfrog to erasing week 1 being done.
Yeah.
I know it's week 2, and it's hard for that to be one of the most important games, but it's just the stepping stone to everything else that happens in the season. The 1 seed, the division, the easiest part of your schedule, everything. It's why this game has so much more importance than I thought before the season started.
It's the reverse of what you could say when we were discussing the Lions game and the ramifications. Okay, You know,
you lose, it means whatever.
NFC game, you know. You still have all these AFC contenders head-to-head later. You play the Chargers twice. You play the Jags. We would have said you played the Jets. You play the Bills. You play Cincinnati. So you're like, okay, you take care of business in those, then it doesn't really matter. Well, this is one of those. This is one of those head-to-head games against a legit contender that could be the number one seed. I told you yesterday, and you're probably right. They're probably pretty much even. I think the Jags are a better football team though than Detroit. I just
they're kind
do.
of a washy team.
It's the quarterback play for me, and what I think their quarterback is, and maybe I'm viewing too much into the future of what it is versus Goff, but because Goff was good last year. But I think this is potentially a team that's at least just as dangerous, if not better. Calvin Ridley, it's 1 week, but damn, Calvin Ridley looked really impressive in week 1 against the Colts. And if that's what they're getting to add to an offense that was already pretty good, Etienne's legit, and then Tank Bigsby is a different type of back, a little more of a power back for them. I think this is also a more challenging Jags team than they faced in the playoffs, which gave the Chiefs a run for the money, and Mahomes, of course, got hurt in that game.
You mentioned the statistic that everybody knows at this point, that if you start 0-2, you only have a 1 in 10 shot, essentially. 11% chance of making the postseason. What do you think that percentage is for the Chiefs? Because it's not 11.
No, it's higher.
Let's just start there. It's definitely not. I think it's like 80. Like, honest to God, like, sure, maybe there's still a 1 in 5 shot they missed because they started 0-2 and things are coming apart a little bit. It's like 80, 85. I borderline want to say 95%. I understand statistically I can't
That's
go
what I'm
quite
trying to
that high.
separate. Yeah.
But 80, 85, 90%, I mean, their percentage is so much different than anyone else on the planet.
The one thing to keep in mind with that percentage, that includes pre-expansion of the postseason. And so we're going to have to see like another 5 to 10 years of...
Yeah, no, 7 teams get in. It's probably going to be more like 20%.
So
which means for the Chiefs, it's 80.
So it might bump up. So if we're being real with like the statistically, maybe it's in the 40% range. I'm with you though. Like if you're just asking from a like take the numbers out of it kind of in, yeah, it feels like they got like a 70-80% chance to make the playoffs still if they were to lose this game. It is different for this team. You have to factor in this particular team and what they've done. And this is why I was stunned today. You and I were talking before the show, and I was on with Bob and Josh for a little betting segment with them. The win total for the Chiefs dropped to 10.5. I don't think this team's suddenly only owning 10 games. Take the over. It was 11.5 before the season.
Never won less than 12, and a portion of those was during a 16-game schedule.
I think another reason that you have to be confident is that neither of these, if they do start 0-2, neither game is a division game. Where other teams play divisional opponents. I mean, the Bengals, if they start 0-2, I think they have they're in that 11% range. They'd have lost to the Browns and the Ravens. Divisional opponents.
That would be bad. That'd be a bad start to your season.
So I think that the fact that the Chiefs haven't played an AFC West team, again, not that you're overly concerned about that division, but their chances of making the playoffs, I would say, are higher because they haven't played a divisional opponent yet.
It's funny. I'd still put Cincy at like 50-50. Now, the Chargers, they go out and lose to the Titans this week. Totally.
Well, they're starting to have some injuries, too.
Dude, of course.
It's the Chargers.
It's just the tale is old as time.
Eckler.
As much as I was like, we had a conversation about this is as close as I feel like the Chargers have been. And then what immediately? Yeah, Eckler's not going to play him. Bosa missed practice yesterday.
I don't know if they're both ruled out yet. They're both questionable, and it's iffy, more so with Eckler than it is Bosa. But yeah, it's a typical Chargers. So someone says, what book can you get the Chiefs at 10.5?
Multiple.
FanDuel, I think multiple. But FanDuel was where I checked this morning.
There as well.
You can check Barstool Sportsbook as well. But yeah,
you got to get a little juice.
Yeah, minus 144. So you gotta be able to stomach that. But otherwise, it's pretty wild.
The notion that we're lowering it to that point. Part of it is like I bet, I think you did too. I bet on the Chiefs over 11.5 because they've never won less than that. They're the defending Super Bowl champs. They got Patrick Mahomes in the middle of a prime. I just hard time imagining they were winning 11 games, only 11 games. I don't know. I mean, now that it's 10.5, do I need to go back and double dip? Do I got to go back into the bank and bet the over on their win total again?
So I told Bob and Josh this morning, I'm like, I think if you bet the Chiefs over 11.5 preseason, and now we're only 1 game in, and they lost it to the Lions, I think you go and you take the over 10.5, even at minus 144, and you probably have it. You can hit both of them, by the way. I just don't see this team being, barring major injury
or pay
again.
back. I guess if for some reason you were wrong this
you could
entire
split.
time.
Yeah, I mean, we think the Chiefs are only a 10-win football team
10
now.
and
Come
7.
on now.
Do we really
Come on
think
now.
the Chiefs have any chance of winning 10 and 7?
Worst case scenario, I think, is an 11-win team.
And they just got Jones back. They are going to get Travis Kelce back here, if not this week, next week for sure. The team is all together.
Like, how many times has Andy won? I mean,
he had a 9-win season early in his tenure.
That was like his first season.
I think he had 9. He had a 10-win season once, but other than that, it's always been 11 or more.
Both those were Alex.
Yes, I
Smith,
believe that's
right?
accurate. I believe that's accurate.
I mean, he's been here for a decade. The man's finished with less than that win total twice, and both of them were with Alex Smith in decidedly different times of their franchises' history.
2014, 9-7.
He won 11 games the year after this team won 2. When they were the worst team in the NFL and were the number 1 overall pick, he walked in the year after that and got 11 wins.
Yeah, only twice would you have lost the updated win total, which is over under 10.5. Only twice under Andy Reid.
Plus that Broncos team had Peyton Manning in at least one of those years that you're talking about, if not two or three.
I think it's a great opportunity to jump back in. 11 wins for the Chiefs. You can get them at over under 10.5 now after opening at 11.5. How quickly the market shifted. For one freaking game. I get it. If they go to 0-2 and you wanted to drop it to 10.5, I would understand the logic. I dare them to drop it when they go to if the Chiefs were to go to 0-2. I dare them to drop that thing to 9.5. I dare them to do that.
Well, it's not like
then I'm going to have to take out, I'm going to go find a
again.
loan shark and take out the largest amount of money someone will let me borrow.
It's not like they lost to the Bears. If that was one of the teams that they lost to, then there's concern. But the Lions, people are picking to win the division. And also Jacksonville, you guys, Gold, you in particular, have said they're going to be a 1 seed. I think that they're going to win 13, 14 games this year. So it's not like they're losing to teams that are predicted to or stink on paper.
I was surprised, man, when I saw that. I was surprised when I saw that dropped. And
that is a reasonable loss to assume could occur. That's what I think confuses me about it. One thing we don't know about the game is whether or not Travis Kelce is going to play. The Chiefs' media availability is getting ready to come up, so maybe you'll get an injury update on where those guys are. I did think this audio was really funny. Travis Kelce, we talked about his podcast yesterday, and he was talking about like being on the field and the stuff that came with it. But he was also talking about how weirdly accurate some of the injury reports are, to the point that he's like, should I be concerned about this? This was him on New Heights talking about how close Jay Glazer was to what was actually going on with him in the injury at that time.
Yeah, Jay Glazer came out talking about 45 cc's.
How does everybody have so much information on your knees?
I don't know, man. We got somebody leaking information.
Well, you leaked the information to me.
Yeah. Jay Glazer's information was oddly very on point, which was interesting because we usually got to know, you don't talk about injuries or leak information about injuries, but he was saying medical terms that I was like, I only heard that from the doctor. How did this information get out? Which I'm not really upset about because it was all pretty much true.
But also, is the doctor the source?
Who knows? I mean, look, this happens with any major player in professional sports that gets hurt. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. The information always ends up leaking out. It just does. I don't know. Obviously, I know we joke on this show about HIPAA and stuff like that. We have in the past. I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, Travis wasn't really bugged by it, but yeah, Jay Glazer's usually still pretty sourced when it comes to injury information. If you watch the Fox Sunday pregame show or at least see the clip, usually on Sunday mornings he has some sort of inside injury-esque type of info for somebody in the league.
A hospital board that has access to medical records?
Taylor Swift? I mean, is that possible?
You think Taylor Swift leaked the knee?
Glazer said, please.
To Jay Glazer.
Glazer said, hey, Taylor. Trying to get that scoop out. I like the idea that Jay Glazer is familiar with that as well, which is funny. That also means, by the way, that when Jay Glazer was saying the Chiefs thought Travis Kelce was done for the season, that's probably also accurate. The Chiefs had a brief moment right after that injury in practice that they were like, we're screwed. Travis Kelce is done for the year. What the hell are we going to do? It also explains why Andy was so angry that day.
He was not in a good mood.
He was in a bad mood. And I get it. I'd be in a bad mood too.
Happened at the end of practice or whatever.
Yeah, and he just had to step to a podium, and everybody knew it was hyperextended, but nobody knew the extent to which the injury existed. I mean, there is times where I'll be honest, I am a little bit concerned about the breadth of knowledge that they seem to know about, because it feels like you shouldn't be able to have that much information. If you're curious, by the way, this is what he said about being able to play today.
Things are looking up. I feel a lot better than I did last week. Felt like an absolute not being able to play in that first game. I did run yesterday, and it feels like I might be able to play this week. We'll see how practice goes, man.
So he is.
I think they recorded that on Tuesday.
Yeah, practice report is out. He is practicing again today.
Good news.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back from his illness.
Good news.
So everyone's practicing that you would assume is practicing. Travis Kelce and Chris Jones will both practice again.
That's big because Travis was limited yesterday, and sometimes you wonder the day after, like,
first time really giving it a go.
He's back out. My guess is he'll be limited again today, don't you think? But that's
I would
okay.
guess for the rest of the week, you wouldn't ever give him a full participant in practice, and instead be very careful if you want him to play on Sunday, because it just makes sense to kind of baby this thing until you get an opportunity. Because you and I both know that even if he plays 60% of the normal workload, just as long as those are on 3rd and 5, man, the whole flow of the offense, everything else gets so much easier.
Absolutely.
And I want to make sure that Kadarius Toney continues to practice. He only played, he had such a huge impact on that game. It stands out. He only played very few snaps, like 12, 15, something like that. You want him to increase his workload. We want Kadarius Toney on the field more. Because we talked all that time about Kelce not being on the field and how to impact your offense. Well, also the guy they were planning on throwing the ball to the most wasn't on there either, which means everyone's route stuff was messed up. Week one,
they ran into each other.
Yeah, and everybody's running different spots. Nobody's in the space they're supposed to be. The guys who normally help you get open aren't. There's like a million things. When you're your top 2 pass-catching options for an entire game, sometimes things, especially week 1, everybody can't just like step in sometimes and fill the exact need. But the fact that both of them are at practice today makes me feel a lot better.
No doubt. Yeah, that's a great sign. And when we were talking about the Jags and the importance of the game, Jacksonville, the type of opponent that they are, I think you do need all hands on deck for this one. Not just because you're 0-1.
How important it is.
But I think you need all hands on deck. And Chris Jones being out there, even if it's limited snaps also, is going to be massive for them and what that could do for Karlaftis. And we had the kind of a pleasant surprise in limited snaps from Felix and Idike Uzama. And I thought when Chris actually yesterday mentioned, what did he, does he regret how things went? Not so much that we know it didn't go the way he thought, but he specifically mentioned working with the younger players. And last year when you and I were up in St. Joe, after every practice, we noticed Frank Clark and Chris Jones were working with Karlaftis. I think it's something he enjoys. He also recognizes, I think, how important it is. And so having Chris Jones back there is also, I think, big to help the progression of Felix. And I don't think that should be something that gets lost in this whole thing as well.
By the time the season ends, especially once they get a Minihue back, they're going to be pretty deep on the defensive line.
Could be, yeah.
If they're going to get play out of Felix and Udike Uzama. And because of all of this contract stuff, we know that that's why they never got to pursue any kind of veteran defensive lineman like Dunlap or somebody else.
Theoretically, Dunlap's still out there. So
well, they're still going to move somebody else's money, right? They got like
$10
to their name today. That doesn't mean they can't move it. I remember that famous graphic that said the Chiefs had $13.
I mean, and you tell me
if and then still signed 2 major contracts.
If Dunlap still wants to play and it's week 6 and there's another injury or something, what's it you bring? I mean, I don't think I still won't write that completely off.
He's still a free agent. He hasn't said he's retired. I assume if the Chiefs could get enough money, why not? What's the harm? Like having more defensive line depth. But because Dana played really well,
he did.
And Udike Uzama surprisingly played decent, you're getting Chris Jones back. In 5 more weeks, you'll get the guy you spent the second most money in the free. Was Charles Minihue their biggest offseason signing financially?
Minihue was.
$12 million they spend more somewhere else that I don't know about?
Yeah.
Juwan Taylor, duh.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Oops. Sorry.
On defense,
second most.
On defense, yes. On defense, yeah, duh.
Let's get back into that.
Juwan Taylor.
On defense.
How do you think
that's the most money they spent on defense?
Spending money, do you think they spent okay?
$12 million. That's it? You telling me you're going to spend money?
Coming up next, we'll get to what's trending. We'll also get into what Dave Tobe had to say about that fake punt that the Lions ran and the frustration around that, along with Juwan Taylor. You brought up his name. We will talk about this false start controversy in the NFL.
Dun, dun, dun.
Chiefs fans, it's Scott Moore. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Get ready for the upcoming NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And all customers who bet bet $5 will get $100 off the NFL Sunday Ticket, fresh from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the perfect time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything for this upcoming NFL season. So visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code CDOT if you want to kick the NFL season off with an offer that you don't want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued. Non-withdrawable bonus specs that expire in 7 days after restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends September 18th of 2023. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not on YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and a current form of payment. Commercials excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Hey, this is Gold. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings at 20110 East Jackson in Independence on Thursday, September 14th. I'll be there from 4 to 6 for a Bud Light Football Fest and giving away tickets to the upcoming Chiefs game. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Bud Light, enjoy responsibly.
Bert Kreischer presents Tops Off World Tour.
I look at my dad, I go, hey dad, maybe we should sit down. I don't think your owl's out tonight. 30 seconds later, whoo, right on top of it we hear, whoo. My oldest daughter goes, Dad, look across the lake at the old man on his dock. There's another drunk, blind old white man just, whoo.
Bert Kreischer live on stage, September 21st, T-Mobile Center. Get tickets at T-MobileCenter.com.
One of the many things I love about shopping at Hy-Vee is that I don't have to sacrifice quality or customer service to save a little money. Look, I'm probably just like you, trying to figure out how to save the most money. Hy-Vee matches the price penny for penny on thousands of items with retail giants like Walmart. So I get the same low prices every day, extra savings with my Fuel Saver card, and more. This Friday through Sunday, get farmland bacon for $3.97, whole pork loin, $1.88 a pound, and fresh chicken drumsticks and thighs, just 99 cents a pound. Hy-Vee, the best grocery value in town.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a Fuel Saver discount equal to the Chiefs' score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee.
Offer valid in store only with lookup code 95345. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Fentanyl is on the rise, making drug overdoses a leading cause of death. Join the fight against drugs. Visit DEA.gov/careers to learn about open positions and how to apply.
There's never been a better time for football fans to join the huddle for all the hard-hitting action with BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app and use bonus code BETKC when you place a $10 pregame moneyline wager on any pro football game. You'll receive $200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of your wager's outcome. Sign up now and discover BetMGM's daily promotions, player props, live betting options, and more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and sign up today to get started. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. BetMGM.com for T's and C's. 21 plus to wager. Kansas only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire in 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Home is where the heart is. At Anthony, 70 plus years of trust. Safe, reliable, local. Your home, our commitment. Schedule online today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
Great to see you, Bob Fesco. What are you doing out here at Summit Zoo Pets?
Well, just like you, Zeke, I'm here to meet Jimmy at Summit Zoo Pets, where admission is always free for you and your family. Hey, Jimmy, what's going on out here at Summit Zoo Pets?
Guys, thanks for coming out. We're a pet store and more. We have over 17,000 square feet full of pets and pet supplies.
Zeke, this is a great place, a fun place for families, for everyone, even you.
Yeah, Bob, I can get a snake and a rabbit.
Hey, Zeke, don't put them in the same cage. Check them out at SummitZoo.com or visit them at the intersection of 291 and 150 Highway in Lee Summit. It's Summit Zoo Pets.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Love wings but think they're not spicy enough? We're launching a new wing sauce just for you. Have your wings sauced and tossed in the new Hot as sauce. our hottest wing sauce yet. Can you handle the heat? Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Dispatch, this is Mindy at Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Well, boy, it's getting hot out there. Now, if your AC is making funny noises, just needs a once-over, or your home isn't as cool as it used to be, visit missionphc.com. Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. License 202909.
Dick Butkus here. I've got a game changer for you. When it comes to creating a winning website, there's only one team I trust. AmericanEagle.com. I've known them for 25 years. In my career, I learned that success isn't just about talent, it's about teamwork. That's what you'll find at AmericanEagle.com. They'll listen to your goals and work with you and handle all your digital properties. They'll ensure your website is user-friendly, responsive, and optimized for search engines. AmericanEagle.com also provides ongoing support and digital marketing strategies that will keep you ahead of the competition. They even host our podcast. Whether you're a medium to large business or a big-time player, AmericanEagle.com is the top choice. Visit www.americaneagle.com for website design, development, and online solutions that deliver efficiency and results. Go to americaneagle.com or call them at 877-WEB-NOW-1.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, it's Scott Moore. Make sure you keep listening all season long on your official broadcast partner, the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending as we get closer and closer to game day down in Jacksonville. Good news, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones did practice yesterday. They were limited, but they're expected to practice again today. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire back at practice today. He was excused due to what they're calling an illness. And Nate Taylor was on with our guys this morning, Fesco in the morning, and said that he thought Travis Kelce looked, quote, pretty good at practice yesterday. I did see one clip. It was pretty funny, just like Chris Jones basically like bear hugging Travis Kelce and stuff. The gang is all back together. Things are trending in the right direction for Sunday.
Spag said he would not put a snap count number on Chris Jones, but did say he tried to play every repetition in practice yesterday. Said he looked like he was in good shape. I'll be honest, I thought we were going to have a member of this show out due to illness. After Drew told us yesterday he ate month-old salad.
Total
expired salad.
Not intentionally, clearly,
No.
but you had a package of lettuce that was a month old.
I went home and made a salad last night, and I saw the 16 number, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good." I never thought to check the the actual month, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm halfway through," and I'm like, "That said August." So I immediately threw it out.
Did it taste
and
good though? Like, did it still taste all right?
I didn't notice anything
Was
off
it a
about it.
closed bag before you opened it?
That might have helped a little bit.
So I will admit, there are certain things that a few days after the expiration, no concern.
Like
Salad?
what? Like what?
Sauces and those types
Okay.
of things, right? Like the sriracha in the
Lettuce
fridge.
just has a lot. I mean,
Sriracha, I'm not worried about my sriracha being like, I don't know, man. It's like a week past. I don't care. But salad? No.
was it the whole salad pre-mixed, or was it just the lettuce and you still had to add like whatever you were going to add to the salad?
Yeah, it was basically lettuce, and they had like some carrots in there too. It was a little bit of a mix, but it wasn't.
No eggs or anything.
No.
Because that would have been a problem.
No.
That would have been a problem. You would have been sick. Guaranteed.
I'm still convinced I would have been sick if I ever ate that egg salad sandwich that was actually in the machine.
Which we don't
Rob
have.
Collins at least brought me one fresh from the grocery store. It was
did.
also awful, but yeah.
We don't have any company kitchen thing right now anymore, so there's no Reese's peanut butter cups mid-show, which I guess is a good thing.
So if your kid's like selling candy bars for a fundraiser and you just wanted to like show up at the front door and let Alex know you're here in the text line, we will buy some.
That's right.
As long as you take Venmo or whatever, we're in.
Yeah, so I haven't had those, which I guess it's good. But on the flip side,
You ordered Chipotle
the
2
last
times
2
in a
days,
row.
not today though, not today, but the last 2 days, if you watch the video stream, you might have caught it for a half second. Me running down the stairs, essentially, and that's because, I ordered some Chipotle to eat in the middle of a break.
We're going to figure out how to
inhaling
make your
Chipotle.
camera mobile. You know, you're
Just
on
take it
camera,
with
you're
me.
on camera. You got to take it with you
fine.
and move yourself all the way down there. Next up on What Trending, Lincoln Riley, in a recent interview, hinting at the possibility that he could retire early. Not like this year or anything, but asked about his future. Lincoln was already talking about his I don't know. I'd hang him up here in a little bit. He's in the middle of a contract that's going to pay him all the way over $100 million. I don't think that this is going to be a totally uncommon trend. It kind of depends on a generational thing a little bit for me. I think that there will be a generation of guys that are happy to just take the $200 million college football offers them and then say deuces. We saw Sean McVay flirt with it multiple times. There aren't as many of those Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, I'm going to die in this chair. Doesn't matter. I'm going to coach for as long as I want guys anymore. I think some of these guys will move on to the easier gigs, the TV gigs, the retirement with hundreds of millions of dollars. I wouldn't be surprised, but here what will happen. Lincoln Riley will coach this job, will do it for 10 years. He'll retire at 43. He'll go do SEC Network or whatever. And then what will happen is 5 years from then, it'll be a full 5 years. 5 years from him, Alabama will offer him such an obscene amount of money to come coach his team, he'll just take it and go back to college football anyway.
Definitely a possibility. I'm with you in all sports. The days of someone coaching in the same spot also, for 40 years, that just Coach K, Bill Self, Roy Williams, that's just not going to happen. Whether we're talking about college basketball, college football, I think that is clearly something that's going away for a variety of reasons. Next up on What's Trending, Aaron Rodgers did put out a statement for the first time since his Achilles injury that's putting him out for the rest of the season. He said in his Instagram post, he'll rise yet again, Cody. The night is darkest before the dawn.
Oh, God.
And I shall rise yet again.
This sounds like the epilogue to like the next Harry Potter book. Like it's just like at the beginning of some like fantasy novel.
It's the closing scene of a Batman movie, and like it's just very Aaron Rodgers. Very Aaron Rodgers. I don't doubt his intentions to come back, and that's never been the question. But will his body allow him to do it? That's for me, we're going to find out. Will his body, at the age soon to be 40, allow him to recover from an injury and still play at a high level? If he was fully healthy this year, heck, right now, before the injury, people were questioning his age and his ability.
We talked about it.
Now he's a year older and coming off a serious injury. Well, I for his sake, I hope he can come back. It'd be you don't want anybody's career to end, especially a guy that's going to be a Hall of Famer, to end like that.
Not if you can avoid
third place, a fourth snap, or whatever of the game.
Next up on What's Trending, Sporting Kansas City has signed forward Alan Pulido to a new contract, keeping him with the club through 2026. They're expecting a full press conference later on in the day if you want to hear some more about that. He's gotten 29 goals, 11 assists, and 61 matches for Sporting. Their record with and without Pulido is significantly different. So, not surprising. That's actually a pretty big signing for them. I know that they were close to like signing Ronaldo reportedly like a year ago. This is a really big keep for Sporting Kansas City. Sometimes players like that will move on to other clubs for more money. Good keep for Sporting Kansas City to keep Alan Pulido under contract.
Yeah, exciting news for Sporting heading into the future with that. And don't forget, in the near future, we'll be heading out to Hollywood Casino for a watch party when the Chiefs take on the Jets. Our guy, Vinny Pasquantino, hosting this watch party. Going to have some of his Royals teammates stop by. That's Sunday night when the Chiefs take on the Jets, October 1st, Turn 2 Sports Bar. We're going to have a silent auction. Vinny told us the other day some of the items he's already putting together, some signed items from some of his teammates, of course, a signed jersey that he's going to have. It's all going to benefit Wayside Waifs right here in Kansas City. Hope to see you guys out there. It's open to the public, right? So you don't have to have a special ticket or anything like that. We hope to see you out there. And, maybe Aaron Rodgers is not playing, but it's still a big Sunday night football game. We're really excited to go out there and hopefully win our bet, too, with Vinny.
He mentioned game use stuff from himself, right? Jerseys, cleats, bats, those kinds of things. But he also told us for sure that he'll have signed jerseys from Garcia, Freddie Fermin, Cole Reagans, and MJ Melendez. So, and other signed baseballs and all that stuff.
Again, maybe a teammate or two.
And we're going to pitch in some stuff at Odyssey as well.
Yeah, maybe a teammate or two. We're going to stop by and join him as well. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Thinking of Royals baseball, we'll talk a little bit about that, looking ahead with Josh Vernier around 12:30 or so, our Royals insider. Jawan Taylor is going to play his former team on Sunday, okay? He's going to go up against the Jags. You know his head coach, Doug Peterson, familiar with Kansas City as well, longtime assistant for Andy Reid. And the story around Jawan Taylor during that Thursday game and for this week has to do with his alignment on the O-line and is he false starting every play. Heck, even Joel Klatt, who was calling Colorado-Nebraska last Saturday, within the first quarter of the game, made a little crack, a little joke about Jawan Taylor lining up, in an incorrect position. But as we told you, we told you the video that was out there from a former offensive lineman that broke it down. This is something that Jawan Taylor has done his entire career. He did it last year in Jacksonville. It's a little bit of a gray area. He's able to execute it. It gets him a little bit of an advantage. And I don't think there's a big problem here whatsoever. But Doug Peterson, who was his coach last year, said, I'm sure it's something that they're going to look at from week one. The refs were told to look at, which does happen. It's just funny to hear it from him because, dude, he was your right tackle. I know, but he was your right tackle. You know what he's doing.
Oh, I know.
You know what he's doing.
He's trying to, honestly, at this point, as much as got made about it, I bet Jawan gets called for one false start this week. But just like,
yeah, but that's going to happen.
They're not, he is. Listen to anybody who knows the rules of the NFL, watch it, slow it frame by frame, and all these things. He is technically within the lines of the rule. Where he's lining up, he's close enough. Where he is, when he is starting, he's close enough. He is inside the lines. It is just right on top of it. And for the few times that maybe he's a half a millisecond outside of that, they're not gonna call it. It's like delay a game, you know, when you watch that thing tick down and you're like, we're doing this? And it's just like that half a second.
They give him that.
They give him that, yeah.
The ref has to look up. They get an extra little.
That's part of the false start. Think about the human eye and how much you can watch in this. If it looks like it's all happening, but he's like maybe barely faster, false starts, you know when they're false starts. I think that Doug Peterson's playing a little bit of gamesmanship, and he's trying to get that small edge. Andy, I sometimes wish Andy would do this. Andy doesn't ever get in the muck. Andy never does any of this stuff. He never plays these little games. I'm sure he does on the sideline when you can't hear him. The same as every coach goes over there. Like we saw in the quarterback show, Patrick Mahomes be like, hey, ref, every play is knocking me against the head. Every play, we're going to let this happen. And then later, Max Crosby gets called for what was a penalty. Those things happen. It's probably more in the NBA. Those things happen every week. To call it out before the game for a player that used to play for you and did the same thing feels a bit rich.
It's just funny.
But I also think nothing's going to happen to this. This is going to be a conversation one more week. And then when nothing changes, everyone's just going to have to either let it go or I guess just live being pissed off all the time at Jawan Taylor. Not even Chiefs fans. I'm just talking about people who were playing against him.
If it was truly a question of is he violating a rule, this would have been addressed in Jacksonville a year ago. This would have been addressed in training camp. Like Andy Heck would be like, hey, man, you can't be doing. They're going to call you for that. They're not worried about it. Truly, move on. Not saying he's never going to get called for a false start. Of course he will. But they're not,
Until it becomes a problem, there's not a reason to really dive into it.
The officials haven't called him for that alignment, and they're not going to throw a flag every single play. They're just, they're not. They're not going to just every single play call you for a false start.
It's just, no, ever. And again, if we get through an entire week where it's just not a big deal again, then you as a Chiefs fan really don't have to worry. And anytime somebody complains about it, just point out Lane Johnson or that he was doing this for Jacksonville last year. Nobody seemed to care. Be like, nobody's stopping your offensive lineman from doing it. Please go ahead. That's all the tush-push thing was for me. All these teams were complaining about how unfair it is. I'm like, you do know, right, that this play is available to you. You are calling it so unjust, so unfair, a crime even. It's such an advantage for the offensive lineman to do this. You can do it. No one is stopping your player from having this same thing available to them. To me, it's a lot different than when like Tom Brady was getting preferential treatment, and every time you so much as whispered near his ear, you got a penalty called against you for roughing the passer. Those are different. They're not treating Jawan Taylor different. He's just one of the very few players playing this way. If you chose to incorporate that style, they'd let it go down. If you chose to do the tush push, it's not a penalty. It is a legal play, and you can do these things.
The one thing that I actually will be curious as the year goes on, Dana Hughes brought this up, former Chiefs wide receiver, when he joined us earlier, and he said the one question he had, and I think it's interesting, is he tipping the defense off, though, that it's a run versus pass? But my only thing, I'd be like, I'm not worried about that because, again, he did it in Jacksonville. Don't you think the Jaguars coaches would have been like, hey, man, you're tipping him?
And if he does, I assume that's a fix. There's a fix there.
I get that that's a concern, but for a lot of this, if you told me he was a rookie and this was his first time in the NFL and he was doing this stuff, I'd be way more concerned. He did it all last year for the Jags, and it wasn't an issue.
They weren't good in the run game, but, they're not always a perfect running team, so that's hard to imagine.
The Chiefs have also themselves had issues. We just got done talking all week about short yardage and issues long before they had Jawan Taylor, long before they had Donovan Smith, before they had Pacheco even as a running back. So I don't think he's causing run game issues either by tipping the defense.
One game would be too early. Matt Nagy, by the way, is at the podium, or was a brief ago. He was asked about Travis Kelce's availability for Sunday.
And?
He says he cannot commit one way or the other about whether or not he will play.
Thinking of gamesmanship.
And that the team has to prepare for either contingency.
Yeah. Hey, you got to utilize a little gamesmanship, even if they deep down know he's going to play. There's just
I honestly think there's still a chance he won't, based on the history of the way Chiefs treat injuries. And it'll seem like a player will go. There was a time last year, Kadarius Toney practiced the entire week. We're like, oh, is this the week? Tony's coming back. He's been practicing, and he still sat one more week and came back the following. So it's not out of their character to practice someone the entire week and then still get around to Sunday and be like, we're good. But I'll tell you right now, they are not going to tell you at the podium. Andy Reid, when he talks tomorrow at 1, he's not going to tell you whether Travis is playing or not. I'd be surprised.
Injury status or something like that.
Yeah, and even still at that point, he'll probably just let you know that, he's probable or likely or has a chance to play.
One thing that I think has been glossed over a little bit from week 1 is the focus on special teams, and in particular how they got, I should say, by the Detroit Lions on that fake punt. Dave Tobe earlier today was asked about, did they expect that? He said the team worked a lot on that Lions fake punt. He said he's disappointed the team didn't stop it. Quote, they made the play. We didn't. Because a lot of times you say, what, you didn't have them prepared? You didn't think that was going to happen? It sounds like just poor execution on that fake punt. Give credit to Dan Campbell and the Lions for that. But we talk all the time. Dave Tobe is one of the better special teams coordinators in the league, is viewed as that. Like stuff like that. This is, last year against Jacksonville, I think, actually. The onside kick, they either weren't ready or they didn't execute. This one, it sounds like they were ready for the fake punt against the Lions, but they didn't execute. At some point, man, like little things like this, I'm surprised that they keep coming up for an experienced special teams coordinator. Now, this year, I'll give them a little bit of a pass at the beginning because they lost a ton of pieces to their special teams unit. Guys like Marcus Kemp are not here. Byron Pringle's not here anymore. They've lost some pieces that were actually key, Lamans as well, key pieces to the special teams unit. Maybe that's part of the problem from a coverage standpoint, but that's not... on the fake punt, when that was all on the defensive line, right? I mean, that was just a fake punt right up the middle. That wasn't a fake punt pass where the gunners were not ready for it.
He has had a dicey couple of years, Dave Tobe. It kind of, I'll be honest, it feels a little bit like the end run for Bob Sutton, where, again, if you look at his entire time in Kansas City, Sutton had some very successful defenses. Matter of fact, his defenses ranked better than he had 3 defenses that ranked better than any of Spag's defenses ever have in Kansas City, from a points per game and an efficiency standpoint. But at the end, right, more of those mistakes were happening and things kept slipping up, and then they were losing important games as a result of it. But last year, I mean, I'll be honest, last year going into the postseason, we said we were worried all year that the special teams was going to cost them an important game at some point.
Yeah.
And when push came to shove, it didn't. It helped them win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Harrison Butker's 2 of the biggest kicks you can ever make in your career.
Harrison Butker made 2 massive kicks, and Kadarius Toney had a massive punt return that set up the win. So he feels very safe. It just feels like there's been a lot to clean up over the last couple of years, including these type of fake things.
You use the Bob Sutton comparison. I think we remember how that ended, though. It was an AFC title game loss where the defense kicked them out of the playoffs, basically. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it would take something like that, where special teams you could clearly look at and say, wow, that ended the chance of doing something really, really special. Hopefully that's not the case. And you're right. Last year, special teams was so big in the postseason. Massive in the postseason.
Came up big in a good way, yeah.
But it's very early on. I do think they have a bunch of new pieces on special teams, and so hopefully that's something that improves. But anytime you fake punts, I mean, against the Jags, they should be – Doug Peterson's going to be aggressive. They should be ready. Maybe not a fake punt, but they should be ready for an onside kick again. They should be ready for some situations like that. And can the players – be able to execute.
They were also just bad the final year. 24th in points per game allowed in the final year of Bob Sutton.
All right, let's get to all 32, guys. Around the league, I'll let Drew start us off with this one. Something that's happening around week 1.
Yeah, so it seems like even going back to training camp, have there been more injuries this year, guys? I mean, Joey Bosa, we get Austin.
He's always hurt.
Austin Eckler, but not only I guess the one that also stands out is going back to week 1. You look at the Ravens, you look at the Steelers' troubles. The Seahawks are going to be without both of their tackles in week 2, and I think that they're going to win the division. We all agree they're going to make the playoffs. I think in some way, shape, or form. It's just weird that we're seeing more injuries more often. It might just be me, but it seems like this year there's been more in training camp, and it might not be like out for the season injuries. It's nagging injuries where you're out, and it's only week 2.
I obviously don't have the numbers in front of me. Are there actually or not? My first reaction is
feels about right.
It's fresh, and I think we have this conversation a lot at the beginning of the
I think it
year.
harks when Aaron Rodgers goes down.
And when you have something magnified like that, I don't know. Maybe for all I know, there's 30 more injuries than there were at this time last year. It might be true. I wonder if it's just a little bit of recency bias. Like it's what's going on right now, and maybe it is the magnitude of the injury that's factoring in.
I don't blame him for saying it feels that way.
It does.
When many of the top contenders might be without top players this week, right? Ravens, Chargers, Jets, right? All of those teams that suffered these. It doesn't seem way out of the ordinary, but it does feel like right now I feel very fortunate that the Chiefs haven't been a part of that conversation yet. Their injury only kept Travis Kelce out for one game.
Kelce was the big one.
No,
They
I
just
know,
got
but it
lucky.
wasn't. Yeah, and look, some of these injuries are not long term. Some of them not. Cooper Kupp out for at least 4 weeks, but it feels like it's probably longer than that. But it's been kind of prevalent across these top teams. I don't think it's all turf versus grass. We don't have to get back into that.
I mean, Mark Andrews, a limited participant. Devin Witherspoon on the Seahawks, a limited participant as
Darren
well.
Waller's questionable.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems
stars.
like
It seems it's more stars, I think, than anything else. It's not that there's more or less injuries. It seems like there's more top-tier guys at multiple positions.
more you can name, right?
Yeah,
versus
right.
like somebody starting linebacker out. You're like, I don't know who that is. Yeah, like, okay.
I mentioned this earlier. I'm stunned to see how quickly the Chiefs' win total has dropped for this season. I know typically all 32 we stay away from the Chiefs, but this was just stunning to me when I checked this morning. When the Chiefs now their win total over under is set at 10.5. This team's win total was 11.5 a week ago. They lose to the Lions, and suddenly we now are like, well, maybe they'll win 11 games, maybe they'll win 10. Now it's minus 144 to the over. I don't know how you can't love that. This is still going to be at least an 11-win football team. And how quickly it's going to shift. If they win against the Jags on Sunday, all of a sudden they're 1-1. They have the tiebreaker over them. We'll be laughing that you got over 10.5 as an option.
Very few things should stun you in the NFL. I would be stunned if the Chiefs didn't win at least 11 games considering their history. There's nothing going on with the team right now that would indicate that they're taking that kind of backslide, okay? It would take a lot. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. I know for a while we had that stretch in the NFL where the team who lost the Super Bowl fell on harder times the year after. I mean, this is the winning team and the team that has been more consistent than any other team in the NFL. It's time. Bill Belichick, somebody, Robert Kraft, has got to tell him, hey, man, you are maybe the greatest coach of all time. Probably are, right? Because of all the Super Bowl wins?
7.
You are, like, at best, a league average GM, and at this point, you're straight up a bad one. The Jacoby Meyer, Juju Smith-Schuster example is just the most recent example of this phenomena. He had the option between two players of a similar age, available for identical contracts. They got paid almost the exact same amount of money, one of which you knew, and the other one who is already having knee-related problems, and even though he played in that first week, did not look like he was going to matter for your offense at all. You missed. Jacoby Meyer, I know it's through 1 week, looks like the guy who you would have bought on, made more sense on the higher upside. And yet again, Bill Belichick keeps looking down this barrel of, you're just not good at both jobs anymore. I think it's changed a lot. I think in 2003, you probably could have handled both jobs, and it wasn't as much. There's just way too much cap, involvement, drafts, scouting. It's too big of a job. You just got to give up the GM part like Andy Reid did when he came to Kansas City and just be the coach, because they would win a lot more if you just agree to that.
Yeah, I think this is what has caused some speculation and rumor up there about, will he actually coach for another year or two in New England because of how there's been some public criticism, some comments that Bill Belichick has made about, maybe Robert Kraft's not spending as much money as other owners on, willing to put money in escrow and things like that. There's no doubt, though, there have been very questionable decisions from a personnel standpoint made by GM Bill Belichick over the last decade. Yes, they won in the last decade, but still over the last decade. And so I think that's fair. Now, right now, after 1
choosing
week,
himself instead of Tom Brady, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, 1 week in, I'm not ready to say for sure, like, wow, Jacoby Myers was the way better guy. It's 1 week.
5 years worth of history.
Myers looked great in week 1 now. I don't know how he's recovering because I think he was in concussion protocol, so I don't know where his status is for this week. But Myers looked great, and Juju was
Like right now,
they were going up against Philadelphia, and their quarterback in New England is as well. So
here are their highest paid players on their roster. Matthew Judon, very mediocre pass rusher at this point. Hunter Henry, And that was because they cut the other tight end who they had traded for that also wasn't working out. Their left tackle, Trenton Brown. Their center, David Andrews. Kendrick Bourne, who did look good in that game, admittedly. But if you just go across the board from a cap hit perspective, he hasn't done a good job in years, man. It's not just about the Jacoby Myers. This is just a recent example I'm giving you.
Well, I feel like
years.
I feel like that conversation or that topic with the GM thing is the draft. It revolves around him in the draft because he has reached for some guys second, third round who either were projected to be undrafted or like 6th or 7th round guys or even 5th round guys. So didn't
he take a punter this year?
I know that he took who was the guard, Cole Strange from Chattanooga, who's not good. He was like projected as a round 5 guy. And he picked
last
him
year's draft,
round
Cole
2.
Strange, Tyquan Thornton,
yeah,
Bailey Zappi. I mean, these
his
guys
drafting has been the cause of concern, I think, in the topic that you're talking about, Cody, more than free agency. But free agency, I feel like, is also a part of it as well.
My God, I'm just looking at just their top picks. Like, I'm not even going further down the list of the names of the guys I wouldn't know. It's not good. Okay, it's a bleak outline of his draft history.
That's all 32 in the NFL. Coming up next, we talk a little Royals baseball with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. We got to ask him about Jordan Lyles and our champagne. I don't think it's going to happen. Next.
Chiefs fans, it's Jawan Taylor. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
Old Shawnee E Pizza has expanded to the Crossroads with their OSP Express. Go to ospexp.com to order and use any third-party delivery system. Located in the Crossroads Food Stop at 16th and Campbell. Go to ospexp.com to order. Old Shawnee Pizza, now 3 locations.
There's never been a better time for football fans to join the huddle for all the hard-hitting action with BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app and use bonus code BETKC when you place a $10 pregame moneyline wager on any pro football game. You'll receive $200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of your wager's outcome. Sign up now and discover BetMGM's daily promotions, player props, live betting options, and more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and sign up today to get started. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. BetMGM.com for T's and C's. 21 plus to wager. Kansas only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire in 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. Soothing for your loved ones. From the makers of Vicks, trusted for over 125 years.
Guys, allow me to introduce George's Aesthetic Bar. Think of George's as your new secret weapon. George's has a playbook loaded with services to help you get rid of those lines and wrinkles on your face, unwanted fat and hair, sun damage, and more. George's founder, Georges Cerise, is a nationally recognized master injector and skilled cosmetic expert. And Georgia happens to be a former KC football cheerleader. Just because you're getting older, you don't have to look the part. Get back in the game with George's. GeorgesKC.com.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. So add those human pawns, loved ones, and save money. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
The MLB app. Your team, your players, your home for live streaming baseball.
And what a way to start.
Customize your home feed with your favorite team. Get personalized stats, highlights, stories, breaking news, and follow your team on game day. 3D replays and live streams add a new dimension to the game. Plus, free live streaming programming every day. The MLB app. Make it your home for all things baseball. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit GetJim.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Boot Barn, we're driven by everything the cowboy boot stands for. The reliable communities of the West, the hardened values of the cowboy, and the unshakable spirit of all who lead a tenacious lifestyle. Justin Boots capture these Western ideals in every pair. Their handcrafted boots are an invitation into the continuing story of the West, open to all who dream of untamed lands and endless Western skies. Justin Boots at Boot Barn.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Technicians you can trust with your house keys.
Home is where the heart is. At Anthony, 70-plus years of trust. Safe, reliable, local. Your home, our commitment. Schedule online today at anthonyphce.com.
For like a half second, I had to think like, are the Royals in Miami or something? I was trying to think. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think that was happening. We are going to talk some Royals baseball though. Coming up in about 12 minutes, we will get to the random question of the day. Right now, though, our guy Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, joining us. We were going to have to decide, I thought, some like club music and go rent some tuxes because we were really strongly trending towards buying some champagne, a bottle of Dom, because the Royals were up 9-0, Vern, with Jordan Lyles on the mound a couple nights ago. They lost that, or he didn't get a win. The Royals came back and won, I guess, after blowing the lead. But, Vern, I don't know. What's your feel? We got 2 more starts. He needs 2 wins?
3 more, I think. Unfortunately, 2 of them are against the postseason-bound Houston Astros, and the finale will be Friday at Kauffman against the New York Yankees at the end of the season. So, yeah, that might be difficult, although I do got to take issue with something. I was listening to you guys after Jordan Lyles' most recent outing, that heartbreaker, and – Gold, I thought you showed the proper amount of heartbreak in that 9-0 lead dissipating. And yet, Cody, it seemed like you were celebrating almost as if I've had this thing wrong from the beginning. You're rooting against Jordan Lyles?
Well, I've been rooting for. I said this was to support Jordan Lyles. But then you guys started saying I couldn't have any of the champagne. That made me feel like we weren't on the same team, and maybe I should be rooting against it.
You didn't want to buy a bottle of Dom. That's what it is.
This is called a heel turn, you know?
Well, we could switch
I was
it.
on one side.
How about this? How about 2 more home runs for Bobby Witt Jr.?
Oh, man. Then he gets 30-30.
Yeah. So now, because if you were rooting for Jordan Lyles, well, let's just root for someone else. Let's root that Bobby Witt Jr. hits 2 home runs in these final 15 games, and then throw some of your money around.
Let's do it. I mean, I'm obviously on board. Go ahead, Cody. Sign up for that.
Right. You're the lifelong Royals fan, you know?
It's true. I am.
You've never seen a 30-30 ball player? Why not?
No, not even like in the Carlos Beltran days.
No,
and he was
traded him before away.
He was
they traded him away before he did it.
Yeah, and he was a fun combination of speed and power, that's the thing about Bobby too, isn't it, Vern? That the rarity of someone who can slug 30 home runs and steal 50 bases. I get it. Ronald Acuna Jr. also exists in this league, but these types of players aren't particularly common.
Yeah. It's just like last year, it tended to sour the celebration when you would acknowledge that Julio Rodriguez did it like a month ago. It shouldn't, though, right? Okay, it's fine if Bobby last year is second in everything to Julio Rodriguez. They both can end up going into Cooperstown at the same time, and there's no shame being second to Ronald Acuna, who is walking his way to the National League MVP. Yeah, look at the numbers. I mean, you guys know the numbers. Bobby already with 44 stolen bases, only 8 players in team history have ripped more in a season. He's, top 10 in base hits. He's top 3 in stolen bases. He's top 20 in home runs. Last night was his 46th multi-hit game of the year. Only 10 players in baseball have more. So he can hit for average. He can hit for power. The arm, the glove, the speed. It's all there. And it's all here for at least 4 more summers.
You mentioned Acuna. I saw he's getting booed like every single game when he goes on the road. It's hilarious to me. What did that guy do other than just being freaking awesome?
Royals booed him. I mean, Royals fans booed him early on this season when he took someone, I would guess Jordan Lyles, took him deep, and then did his little stutter step around third base. Yeah.
His Jack Parkman thing, they don't like that?
Yeah, the fans hate it in Cleveland. Yeah, I don't people still booing the Houston Astros.
Yeah, that just is dumb now.
Hey, whatever really brings you to the ballpark.
Hey, at least we've got some reason. He was Alcides Escobar's cousin, and he almost came here, Ronald Acuna Jr. Haven't you heard that from Royals fans before?
My guess is he turned down, or he accepted more money, and my guess is to go to Atlanta.
No, reportedly the money was very close. Huh. Was that right, Vern?
Yes, but there were like half a dozen teams in on Ronald Acuna, so a lot of fan bases are having this conversation right now.
But were their cousins on the team, I
don't know. That is a pretty dominating bloodline that Michael Garcia, and Ronald Acuna, and Alcides Escobar are all a part of.
My God, is this like the Manning family? If anybody in that family line has a kid, should I just be buying future into their baseball future?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, that's normally my mindset going into the draft. It's not a surprise. I mean, you look around all professional sports, and it's not shocking when you grow up in a clubhouse, when you grow up in a locker room, that you're not. You don't fall victim to the same pitfalls that other kids that didn't grow up around big leaguers and around NFL superstars or whatever it might be. Yeah. I think the bloodline stuff is, well, obviously it's real.
Vern, last night, Alec Marsh goes for the Royals. He only goes 4 to third innings. They're very careful with him. That has been a really common theme for them since the beginning of August, where they take him somewhere between 3 and 5 innings, get him the hell out of the game, and move on. Have they found the right usage for Alec Marsh that makes him successful?
I hope so. But what it seems like we're describing is a relief pitcher, you know? I listen.
Sure.
A big off season for Alec Marsh. I want him in the fight for one of those final 2 spots in the rotation. Hopefully, it's only 1 spot open in the rotation. A full off season, understanding now what big league hitters are telling him about his stuff. A full off season working with this coaching staff. They now have a relationship. They know him inside and out. He knows them inside and out. So look, Alec Marsh could be a completely different. He doesn't need to be a completely different pitcher. The guy's got, 50, 60, 71 strikeouts in 60 innings this season. He doesn't need to be a completely different pitcher, but he could be a much better pitcher with a quality offseason, hopefully forthcoming. But if not, I think he's going to have a very safe landing in the bullpen. Steven Cruz also looked really good last night, and credit to the coaching staff. Using the opener of Cruz and Marsh, it combines for 6 1/3 innings of 1-run baseball. It's easier to celebrate those things when you're trying to win games. But in last night's case, Steven Cruz at 24, Alec Marsh at 25. These are 2 guys that you're hoping can take a lot of confidence into the offseason. And with that performance last night, the both of them should.
Look, I don't need him to, I don't want to move him off of being a starter too soon. You always try that longer,
Right.
Vern. But
Right.
I watch him pitch, and I'm like, Andrew Miller role. Just get that man for 3 innings in the middle of the game with his strikeout stuff, and he could probably carry some weight for you.
Yeah, he might. I don't know who the team's best reliever is. I'll start with that. So if Alec Marsh becomes a reliever, I think he immediately becomes the best relief pitcher on this team. Carlos Hernandez has shown you who he is. He's a big arm, impressive stuff. But I don't know if it's heart or head, but he's missing that thing that makes excellent high-leverage relievers. He's a fine arm to have in the bullpen. I'm glad he's on the Royals, but I don't want him closing games. I don't want him as the 8th inning guy next year. Alec Marsh's stuff is filthy, but like you're saying, man, you're not going to wave the white flag on him being a starting pitcher just yet. Could happen next season. Hopefully happens next season because you sign a free agent. Daniel Lynch comes out and earns a spot in spring training, and boom, Alec Marsh is your 7th inning guy, eventually becoming your closer.
The Royals are 46 and 101. The A's are 46 and 100. Can the Royals avoid being the worst team in baseball this season? I know there's, believe it or not, been some people that said, just go for just set records and be so bad. I'm like, no.
Who wants that?
Bob does. No chance.
It's too late for all that anyway. They can't set any records.
Yeah. So, no, don't be the worst. And you don't get the number 1 overall pick anymore anyway. So don't be the worst team in baseball. Please don't give us that at least. Can we at least be saying we're not as bad as the Oakland A's?
Yeah, I hope so. I certainly wouldn't bank on it. 6 of the remaining 15 are against Houston, again, New York in the final 3 games of the season. So, Kauffman Stadium is basically going to be another version of Yankee Stadium West. You have Cleveland for 3 and the Detroit Tigers. So, yeah, you better fatten up against the White Sox in Detroit, or else, you're going to be staring at 111, 112 losses.
Vern, it's only been a week. You like Nick Lofton?
Yeah, hard not to like him when the guy just hits consistently. 10 knocks in his first 9 games, hitting .345 with 6 extra base hits, and I'm not going to put him in the Maikel Garcia class. Maikel carries himself on and off the field like he's 33. Even if you watch the video that the Royals tweeted out earlier where they asked everybody on the team, hey, do your best impression of Salvador Perez. And Michael Garcia, as a 23-year-old, his impression of Salvi is swinging at a slider outside of the zone, and then he laughs and walks off camera. That's a guy that's comfortable in the big leagues. I don't think Nick Lofton is there yet, but he certainly doesn't he's not timid. He's ready to do damage both offensively and defensively. He's an attacking baseball player, which is exactly what this team needs moving forward. And if I'm Michael Massey, I'm starting to get worried about my safety of everyday at-bats in 2024 because I don't know where Lofton fits really outside of a platoon maybe at second base with Michael Massey.
It probably doesn't help that JJ told us on Tuesday that they liked the way Lofton was looking at third.
Yeah,
was it third?
Maybe
first, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
No, he
was it
said,
third?
Yeah,
he said third.
He said third base, but he's also gone on and on about how the left side of the infield appears sets.
Right.
Now, the team, like you mentioned, 46 and 101. We're not tied to anything. If Michael Garcia becomes your second baseman next year and Nick Lofton's at third, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
too.
no, that's very true. No question. Vern, appreciate it, man. I hope you got a vacation planned here in about 3.5 weeks.
Just bought tickets for Michigan, Ohio State.
Ooh,
okay.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna. So what? Okay, how are you feeling so far about your Wolverines?
Nothing matters. We're 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Let's get to a big game. And then I'll get.
Yeah,
back
this
to you.
weekend slate
the quarterback
sucks.
looks unbelievable. I can't imagine this is going to continue.
Yeah, this weekend slate stinks, but next weekend is unbelievable for college football. Maybe when we have you on next week, we'll have to talk more about that.
Vern, if you were asked by Harbaugh to coach the team, would you do that?
Of course.
Yeah, why wouldn't
anything for Jim. Yeah,
anything for Jim.
I think to start, maybe now, self-impose a punishment on yourself, Vern. You're off of pregame for the next couple of days.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Actually, I don't know if I can afford to do that. We got 15 games left, and Cody, you went to school every day as a kid, right? You had great attendance, and I take a little bit of pride if I can finish off all 162.
There you go. Josh
It is.
Vern
It's
here.
not an easy thing to do.
Our Royals insider. We'll check in next week with Vern as we are getting to the end point here of the baseball season. And please just finish above the A's. It sucks already, but just finish above the A's.
I don't know if I'm
please.
willing. I feel like Bobby Wood Jr. is hitting those 2 home runs.
Yeah, let's alter the bet.
Vern's
right.
But I think
Vern's
he's
right.
I think he's hitting those 2 home runs.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think Bobby Wood Jr. needs anyone to root for him. We were cheering for the plucky underdog. I was offering just the other day that if Jordan Lyles did it, maybe I could add something else to sweeten the pot. But I don't know about
3 starts to go.
I'm going to throw that over on our old guy, Bobby Witt.
Got to win 2 out of the next 3 starts for Jordan Lyles. We could have been sitting here. We should have been sitting here saying 1 out of the next 3.
That's
1.
a very different circumstance.
Dang it. All right, let's get to the random question.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7610. Look, I know many of our listeners, because many people do, operate a podcast. And
yeah, we've been on a couple.
I've been on multiple podcasts. We've all done podcasts. You podcasted your betting show. I know it's technically in the air, but it was podcasted last night.
That's right.
We've all done our share of that. That's a big rite of passage in our industry. And I know a lot of you listen to podcasts. The question I have for you today is Kyle Brandt correct in his assessment of being on podcasts? This is what he said on Good Morning Football yesterday about when he gets asked to what's something he's giving up in his life, and his answer was podcasts.
No podcast, guys. No. Listen.
You're not a podcast.
There's a cycle. I think I'm ready to be done with the cycle. You start getting these invites, and I'm a big fan. I would love doing this pod. You're like, oh, that's nice. And then you're like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll come on. And then you're like, next Thursday, I'll come on. All right? You don't even think about it. Thursday, you're like, I gotta do that bleeping podcast.
Just an hour.
What time did I say? Just an hour. Too quick. Also, it's on camera. So could you and then you show up and you're like, hi, and then they didn't send the link, and you got to be like, can you send me the Zoom link? And then they don't like the light, and could you change the thing? You don't have headphones. Could you find some headphones? And then you do it, and they ask all these wacky questions like, you're on a desert island, you have to eat one football player. Who would you? And you're like, I don't know. And then they have all their answers prepared, and they're just waiting for you to finish. Their answers are funnier and better, and then it ends, and then of course a couple days later, hey, we're putting it on social. Would you mind sharing it for us? Is there any way? And the clip that they picked to share is not funny or flattering. They're funny in the clip, but you're not. It gets canceled, and it's like, no, don't do that. And it's all just like, I love you guys, and I've been there, and I know this sounds really elitist, but it's such a pain in the ass. I'm at the point right now, no more podcasts. I think I'm done from the game. I love you guys, and I've been there. I've been that guy. I hate it.
He's so right, though. It's hilarious.
How dare you? You don't want to support the little guy anymore, Gold.
Now you're putting words in my mouth. Everything he said is accurate, though. I was just on a podcast last week. Thank you very much. But he's 100% right.
You don't want to do it.
We've all been there, though, where it is so true, though. Like, because the link doesn't get sent, or all of a sudden, and next thing you know, it's a 30-minute interview instead of a 15-minute interview, or this is true. A phone call versus being on a video stream while doing it is different. Everything he said there is accurate. It's hilarious. I actually think the whole clip is hilarious that he put out there.
Are you going to still keep going on podcasts?
Yeah, you and I probably go on more than a lot of people, to be honest.
Depends. Yeah. I mean, I don't tell people no very often.
That's what I'm saying.
If I can
if you give someone advance notice, then it's fine.
I recently got asked, somebody is starting a UMKC Ruse basketball
There you
podcast.
go.
And they were like, hey, do you think you'd do an episode soon? I was like, I'm your guy.
If they,
I don't know much about the team this year.
if
I'm going to do
someone-
some research.
If someone asks me in advance, then that's good. Don't ask me to come on later on today, and it's already 2:00 in the afternoon. That's not going to happen. Or don't message me right after a Chiefs game and say, can I come on?
I
That's
would
not
say
going to happen.
the biggest thing that is in the truth of this is that versus like when we have people on the show, it is rare for us to ask someone to spend an entire hour on the show. We do it, Club 610, right? There's a couple of moments. For a regular interview, we ask about 10 to maybe 8 to 15 minutes of your time. A podcast, if you're asking me for a full hour of my life, that's a lot. Oh, man.
I've never asked
That's a lot. I
I've
don't
never
want to do
asked-
it for an hour. I will, but I don't want to do it for an hour.
I've never asked for anybody for the whole podcast.
Yeah, that's
never.
That's crazy.
It's not.
And maybe that's because I have been in the radio industry, and interviews typically are that 8 to 12 minute window normally. That I just am used to that. Hey, 8 to 10 minutes. That's all I want. I've never asked, hey, can you come on for an hour? I've never thought about it that way because I wouldn't want to go on somebody's podcast for a full hour.
Yeah. Someone says, are you guys getting paid for podcast appearances? No. That was actually, there was some story many, many years ago. Somebody tried to start charging. Unless someone's a weekly guest on a radio show even, they're not getting paid. Like, that's just how it works. Like,
honest to God, do you realize how big of a douche you would sound?
That's what I'm
like?
saying.
If somebody said, hey, man, will you come on the podcast? I'd be like, yeah, man, no problem. Just hit that Venmo. It's Cody-Tap, $20.
Yeah, we don't.
I'm good to go. You'd be like, excuse me? Yeah, $20. No big deal. I'm your guy. Yeah. I'll tell you this. If I started charging, I'd give better effort. You'd be like, 100%, man, I'm in this thing. Well, I feel like they'd want their money's worth,
I got you.
Did you just throw your actual Venmo in there? So I heard you slide that in there. So if anybody wants to donate.
We've done that on the show before.
Big news. We got $50 extra coming to the show fund because somebody needed Super Bowl confetti. Someone messaged me last night, said, hey, I need Super Bowl confetti. They had a signed Super Bowl. It's not from the Super Bowl, but it's got like all the embossing of Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Signed by Travis Kelce.
Nice.
And he's like, and I want it in a shadow box, and I want Super Bowl confetti.
Perfect.
His exact offer was, I will send you $50 for the show fund so you can keep making bad bets if you would give me some confetti. And I said, yeah, we're your guys.
Hell
I got you. So as soon as the exchange is made, we'll have a little more cash.
I probably shouldn't say this because I'm going to get people hitting me up now, but I have so much confetti still.
Well, I only do it for charity or for the show
that's
fund.
the thing. Yeah, don't
Either
just
for the Cody and Gold garage sale, in which we raise some good money for the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, or for the show fund so that we can continue to make bets on Fridays.
I have a jar full of it still. Like, not the tiny ones, like a bigger one. Maybe we'll save it for the garage sale next year or something.
Coming from somebody who's never won a championship before.
Yeah. Do you want some confetti, Drew?
You actually get confetti? Like,
we were on the field, and we just scooped a bunch up into bags.
Oh, that's nice.
He's just so sad. He's just like, oh, that sounds cool. Dude, we didn't realize. So what happened is, like, we both got some, and then we gave some to family, and I knew that they'd be excited, and I let my daughter give some to, like, her teammates, and they were really excited. But then we put it in the Cody and Gold garage show. We did not anticipate the
very
demand.
popular. We could have put another 5 on there.
Yeah, we weren't sure what the demand would be. Because I still have a few. I don't have as much as you, but I still have some available at the house. This guy was just trying to do it to complete his art project for the Super Bowl football and offered us money for the show fund. And I thought, well, we got to figure out other ways to put some more money in there so we can take some bigger risks in the show fund. Some business risks that I have in mind, as we've previously discussed in the show, not just betting. So I'm interested.
But yeah, Drew, when your team wins a championship, man, it's really cool that you get red.
You on the field
get your team
sometimes?
color Lombardi Trophy confetti, and some of it's Lombardi Trophy, some of it's normal confetti.
And because the field was so bad, I have many chunks of the actual Super Bowl field.
Crappy grass.
I don't know if I would love to go to a Super Bowl period. I could care less what teams are playing. I'll go to a Chiefs Vikings Super Bowl, and I will gladly
Chiefs,
be
Vikings.
there.
Is that your pick this year?
No,
Okay,
it's not.
Okay.
Vikings, that'd be a bold one.
Well, I did recently just change my pick. Remember last week I said the Vikings are missing, and it also panned out to be nice because
I did give
they
him the
did
freebie.
lose
That
to
was
Tampa
smart.
Bay.
That looked much smarter.
I used the mulligan very wisely. I would go to the parade, though, for sure. I would ask
Look, we're
our
lucky.
boss if
We
I
have
could.
those quite a bit around here, Drew, it turns out.
I know. I would
Since
ask our boss.
2015, we've had a bunch of them.
I know it's not a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance or even 5 days in advance, but if the Bengals do win a Super Bowl, can I drive to Cincinnati for like the Wednesday?
Yeah.
I would totally do that.
I'm sure. I love how Cody says fine like it's it's up to our boss, not us.
Whatever. What? He can take his time when he takes his time.
That's what I said.
Again-
No, that's what I said. But you said sure, it's fine as if it's like your call. And I'm sure the boss will not have an issue with you doing that. But the good news is it's not going to happen. So you don't worry.
I was going to say
Don't worry
you guys
about it.
have got to be very confident that it's not going to happen. So don't worry, Drew's not
I
going to.
mean, I've got 50 years of history to suggest it never will. So, I mean, I guess at some point maybe it'll happen.
At
for
least we
Cincinnati.
made one in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people never get that. A lot of people.
There's a
We
lot-
didn't have that
there's a lot
until
of fan
recently.
bases.
We were
Yeah.
in the same boat. We were in the same boat not many years ago. I should
Your
say.
entire lifetime, the Royals had done nothing, and then all of a sudden they went to back-to-back World Series, including winning one.
Oh yeah.
And then your entire lifetime, the Chiefs had not been to a Super Bowl. We knew they had the win, but it was long before either of us
Yeah, it
were
was
born.
19 in the 70s, or 1969 season or whatever.
Yeah, 70 year. But so, yeah, no, it's better this way. I'm just going to say, you know what? This way's better.
We've been Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Up next, though, fantasy football. Your waiver wires. What are you doing for week 2, including tonight's Thursday Night Football? Paul Charchian of GuillotineLeagues.com stops by.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Tune in to hear Andy Reid every Monday at noon, exclusively on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Foley Rental is your locally owned equipment rental store for commercial, industrial, farm, and residential projects with a large fleet of aerial lifts, telehandlers, generators, trench shoring, and temperature control equipment, plus cat skid steers, excavators, loaders, and attachments, all inspected and maintained by over 500 certified technicians, so you stay safe and on schedule. Foley Rental, committed to you from the ground up. Call 855-RENT-FOLEY or visit FoleyRental.com.
One of the many things I love about shopping at Hy-Vee is that I don't have to sacrifice quality or customer service to save a little money. Look, I'm probably just like you, trying to figure out how to save the most money. Hy-Vee matches the price penny for penny on thousands of items with retail giants like Walmart. So I get the same low prices every day, extra savings with my Fuel Saver card, and more. This Friday through Sunday, get farmland bacon for $3.97, whole pork loin $1.88 a pound, and fresh chicken drumsticks and thighs just 99 cents a pound. Hy-Vee, the best grocery value in town.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a Fuel Saver discount equal to the Chiefs' score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee.
Offer valid in store only with lookup code 95345. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Viva la fiesta! Come celebrate Mexican Independence Day at Twin Peaks all week long with specials on your favorite tequilas, margaritas, cervezas, and more now through Saturday. Don't miss the celebration. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
One of my favorite times of the year has arrived. That is football season, but it also means we're getting a little bit closer where you got to start thinking about your boat. You got to start thinking about winterizing that boat. So you need to let Midwest Marine Boat Company's elite part and service department Take care of your boat so you're all ready to go for next year. Midwest Marine Boat Company will winterize your boat, shrink wrap your boat. They can help with storing your boat. Midwest Marine Boat Company still has all the great savings, though, I've been telling you about. When it comes to the 2023 models, you want to take advantage of those savings before manufacturer prices change. You know that's going to happen. You do not want to be left out and missing this great opportunities. And for the rest of September, they're still going to offer that $2,000 trade-in allowance on all Bennington pontoons and tri-toons. Midwest Marine Boat Company, home of the largest indoor showroom in the Kansas City area. I was amazed still when I walked in there for the very first time. You will be as well at 13800 South Highway 71 in Grandview. Midwest Marine Boat Company. We take pride in your fun. Hey, this is Gold. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings at 20110 East Jackson in Independence on Thursday, September 14th. I'll be there from 4 to 6 for a Bud Light Football Fest and giving away tickets to the upcoming Chiefs game. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Bud Light, enjoy responsibly.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Kansas City, it's time to cheer on our Kansas City team. Head into Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway Sunday, September 17th and watch our team on a giant screen. While watching, you could win $3,000 in Penn bonus play or a $1,000 KC tailgate package. Don't miss any of the action this season at Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, this is Justin Reed, and you're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
1 o'clock hour, hanging out on a Thursday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get back into Kadarius Toney, some of his thoughts yesterday and what to expect. The feeling that could have maybe a breakout type of game on Sunday, even though we had all those drops last week. But I expect, and you expect, Andy Reid to go to him right away in the first 15 plays and have maybe multiple plays designed for him just to get him back on track. Maybe an opportunity in fantasy football. I don't know if our guy Paul Charchian agrees with that or not, but Paul Charchian of GuillotineLeagues.com is presented by Twin Peaks Eats, Drink, Scenic Views. The waiver wire was processed yesterday, and we needed a few additions, Charge, because it was a very close call for me on Monday Night Football.
Was it? That's my understanding. Was it? I'm not sure if it was you or was it Cody that needed a big game from Stephon Diggs against Sauce Gardner.
I was perfectly safe.
You were.
Alex,
okay, so was Alex. All
Alex, the problem he was having is that he only really needed one more catch from Stephon Diggs at the end of the game, but the Jets had the ball and the clock was winding down. And look, part of the reason is because he had Aaron Rodgers.
I had Rodgers charge, I was screwed. I didn't even get a single point.
That's tough. Now, I know Cody saw this because we went back and forth on Twitter a little bit. I don't know if you did, Alex. A team in our media league.
Oh, my God.
That got chopped. You're in it. I'm in it. We're all three of us are in it. 13-point.
Unreal.
He had four of his players were not available on IR. So 4 of his bench guys were on IR. But imagine starting 8 players and having 6 of them score 0 points.
It's got to be a record.
It's staggering. I can't.
That's so hard to do.
I mean, look, in
so
any
hard to
fantasy perspective, the odds of you going into the season before the injury, thinking in week 1 you were getting 0 out of Drake London, Travis Kelce, Aaron Rodgers, and T. Higgins. That seems pretty low.
Right. You're going to combine for 0 points. Come on.
But we all three at least are on this show, and we're all still alive in the media league. We're all still alive here in our listener league here on Cody and Gold. And a lot of people were wondering if that Joe Burrow-led offense was going to cost them a spot in guillotine.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just such a disappointment to get nothing from Higgins or Burrow or Chase.
Right. Disaster. Now, granted, it was raining, but I think the real issue was just Joe Burrow hadn't practiced in a month, really. And so I just think that was, that was a tough spot. And by the way, Cleveland's a good defense, legitimately good defense. They were a very good pass defense last year. So, and get this, Joe Burrow averaged 2.5 yards per attempt. Ooh. Oh, man,
that's bad.
That's how you have an 83-yard day right there. Now, this week, it's the Ravens. Now, the Ravens' run defense is elite. Their pass defense, much more suspect, especially after losing starting safety Marcus Williams last week. Now, they played against C.J. Stroud in Houston last week. Stroud, in his first ever game, had 54 dropbacks. So I mean that's how the Texans decided to try to beat the Ravens, and I just think through sheer volume, Joe Burrow knocked some of that rust off. I think he's fine this week.
What do you do about some of these wide receivers? Because I'll be honest, in 2 different leagues, I've got both people trying to trade for and trade away Drake London and trade away T. Higgins. Drake London actually concerns me. The Falcons might only throw the ball like 16 times a game. That has got to worry us a little.
Oh, very, very worrisome. And he's not startable this week either because Jair Alexander, it's the Green Bay, is the opponent. Jair Alexander is going to shadow him, just like he shadowed DJ Moore last week and put DJ Moore on a lousy game. Last week, Jair Alexander, in his coverage, gave up 1 catch for 4 yards. And who else would he cover? I mean, they shadow with Alexander all the time. There's no other receiver in Atlanta you're going to bother having him shadow, so it's going to be Drake London, and he's going to get shut down, and they'll just happily run Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier constantly. So, yes, Arthur Smith can suck it.
I also feel the same way about Kyle Pitts, by the way. I'm just actively angry because I draft Kyle Pitts every year because he's clearly way more talented than most guys charge. Yes. And I just keep thinking, well, eventually they'll just have to throw him the football, and then they don't, and I get mad.
Well, yeah, get this. He was on the field for only half their snaps. I mean, here he is, right? You took Kyle Pitts with pick 5 of the draft, and Drake London at pick 10 of the draft. These guys they're total non-factors in your offense. It's absurd. The only reason Pitts ended up with a quasi acceptable box score. He had 1 catch for 30 yards in double coverage on an underthrown pass that he was able to corral in. So,
Arthur Smith.
Yeah, Arthur Smith.
Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues, though. How about the quarterback performances? I thought it was just sloppy across the board for the most part, other than Tua and a handful. None more frustrating than maybe those believers in Justin Fields up in Chicago, though, because that was rough, to say the least, for a guy that we're all supposed to buy into.
Yep. People took him in the 2nd round of their fantasy drafts, 3rd round of their fantasy drafts, and here's what offensive coordinator Luke Getsy gave you. 2 designed runs. 2. I mean, this is his most game-breaking trait, is his ability to run, right? I heard this stat yesterday. When Josh Allen runs the ball 10 or more times throughout his career, the Bills are 18-2 because you break down defenses in a way that they cannot prepare for. It brings so many unique variables to the table. And then Luke Getsy ran him 2 times. The other great trait for Justin Fields, he's got this cannon arm. And granted, the blocking was terrible. He threw 2 passes, 2 deep passes in the whole game. 2. I mean, at some point, Luke Getsy's got to go mass protection and let Fields air it out. His average intended air yards, 3 yards for Justin Fields. You can't be an effective passer on 3 yards a pass.
Charge, what do we do about some of the running backs? I think one guy right now that a few of us are rostering is Breece Hall. And he went late. He went really late because we weren't really sure what Dalvin Cook was going to do in this spot. Is this a sell-high situation in Breece Hall? Or should we be thinking he's going to get more and more action here if these are the kind of numbers he's going to put up?
Breece Hall looked great, and Dalvin looked like the guy the Vikings got out of just in time. I mean, it was
like Ezekiel
eye-popping
Elliott's
difference.
last couple of years?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think the Vikings made the right call on getting out, and Breece Hall looked tremendous. I can't give you any real reason to not stay invested in Breece Hall because I don't think Dalvin's going to be a meaningful factor here. Just the talent differential and the age differential. It's just it's just too great. And the Jets are now with Aaron Rodgers out and Zach Wilson, it's going to be run at every opportunity, right? So that's the other part of why I love Breece Hall. They're gonna that game plan simply they cannot game plan anything that says let's get Zach Wilson to go win our games for us.
Paul Charchian of GuillotineLeagues.com getting us set for week 2 of fantasy football in the NFL. A game involving a team that I know you always keep a close eye on up in Minneapolis. That's the Vikings, who were so disappointing in week 1 against the Bucs, but they get a matchup against the Eagles tonight. I was looking forward to seeing what they would use Alexander Mattison for near the red zone and the goal line, and really wasn't a whole lot. What do you make of Alexander Mattison's chances now in start number 2?
Madison looked completely ordinary last week, and a tougher test against an elite Eagles front 4 this week. Eagles completely shut down Ramondre Stevenson, who's a way better back last week, holding him to 2 yards per carry. And the Vikings are going to be without starting center Garrett Bradbury. Not that he's great, but the idea of your backup center going up against elephantine tackle Jordan Davis sounds very ominous for Alexander Mattison. Do not like him here at all. I think I would be looking at your bench and trying to figure out, do you have another prospect at running back or flex? I mean, can you find a rationale to get Alexander Mattison out of your lineup? Because I don't like him here. He's my number 31 ranked running back for this week. And that means, guys you normally would not start, I think I would play ahead of him.
What do you do on the other side of things backfield-wise for the Eagles? Because Kenneth Gainwell's out. Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch a week ago. I held on to him, for example, in one of my leagues. Is he back in play tonight?
No. And let's use his correct name. Rashad dropped the piano, Penny. That dude's got nothing left. He is so plotting. No, we're going to see a lot of DeAndre Swift tonight and some Boston Scott. And that's how I think the ratio is going to go. It's going to be like 2/3, 1/3. Boston Scott hasn't had a double-digit carry game since December 2021. And he doesn't catch. He logged 6 catches all of last year. So I think Swift gets most of the carries, like all of the receptions. And the Vikings' run defense is fair. It's not great. This is a really nice opportunity for Swift, who I would definitely start Swift over Madison.
Is Puka Nacua, I know he's the hot name in fantasy.
Yeah.
Is he going to be the guy who, helps your team? I feel like this is it. He helps you get into the playoffs, Charge, and then Cooper Kupp shows back up and he's useless to you. Is that what's going to happen with Puka Nacua, or are we good for the year?
Okay. Yeah, maybe, but I don't think so, and here's why. So we're going to get a month, at least a month, with Puka Nacua, and he's basically running. He's being Cooper Kupp, and they're funneling the same whole offense room with the 15 targets from last week. And by the way, I mean, that Rams win, that was the most impressive win, I thought, of all of week 1. 30-13 over the Seahawks, and we all thought the Rams were going to lose that game. No Cooper Kupp, the whole offense goes through him. What a great job by the coaching staff of the Rams and to get that team ready to win. And I thought Stafford played great. So Puka's going to get this 4-week tryout. He probably, with lots and lots of looks, probably gets. I think he'll continue to look very good. And then all he has to do to remain relevant after Cooper Kupp comes back is be better than Van Jefferson, which everybody is better than Van Jefferson. So that's not going to be hard. And so I think he will stay relevant through the whole season. Is he going to continue to have 10 catches for 119 yards? No, but at least for the time being, I think Puka Nacua is going to be very effective, and he won't have the advantage of sneaking up on opponents like he did in Week 1. But maybe it doesn't matter.
Text line's always looking for help. They say, hey, Raheem Mostert missed practice due to the knee injury. Are we back on A-Chain as a possible option in fantasy?
No, and here's why. There's a real chance Devin A-Chain sucks. There's, inactive, healthy scratch last week, and, he's been banged up, and he's a little guy. He's never going to be a factor near the stripe. I don't think he's going to be a fantasy helper very often at all, and I think you have to have very low expectations for him.
Paul Charchian, GuillotineLeagues.com. A lot of people experiencing guillotine leagues for the first time. Waiver wire, the blind bidding. It's a ton of fun, man. Appreciate you coming on with us as always.
Always fun. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
There you go. Great insight from Charge. Yeah, I'm screwed in. So our Cody and Gold Guillotine League, I do have Rashad Penny, who I kept on the roster. He was inactive last week. That's why I asked the question. I have Aaron Jones as well, and Aaron Jones is questionable. And so I'm trying to decide if I'm starting Ahmed or whatever his name is down in Miami, the running back, or Rashad Penny. And Charge basically just scared me off at Penny, so I got to figure something out.
Well, in fairness, same, but in our league, A-Chain is on my team. I was actually asking that question for them. I don't have another choice but to start him because in the Cody and Gold Guillotine League,
I might still have to start Rashad Penny tonight. I still might have to do it, even going against Charge, which is not a good idea. But I might have to.
Man. What are you going to do?
It's either that or pick up Mike Boone.
It's guillotine, dude. You don't have a choice. You just got to
figure it out. I need Aaron Jones to play. That hammy someone needs to work some magic on the hamstring of Aaron Jones for Sunday. Somebody. Get one of those Theraguns, whatever you got to do. I don't think that's how that works, but, something.
I missed my last couple of picks in Charch's league because of the way the draft was going. I just missed a spot here or there, so I didn't get the last couple were auto-drafted. Oh. One of the guys, it was the last 2 picks. One of the last 2 that got auto-drafted for him was McCole Hardman. Talk about the fastest drop in the history of the planet. Their coach today tried to explain it away. It's like, once Rodgers went down, we had to kind of change things. I'm like,
yeah.
But think about how far down the depth chart you have to be for you to get he didn't take a snap.
Nope.
The Chiefs, and this was always so funny about it, Chiefs fans would be like, oh my God, what about losing McCole? That man couldn't get on the field for the Jets in that first game. And it's fine. I'd never planned on him being a massive contributor to the fantasy lineup. He's got auto-drafted, and in guillotine, the bottoms of your roster stink so bad, who cares? But it's just like, oh, man, I'm getting the hell out of this camp because there's just no way to succeed at that point.
Thanks to Charch for some great advice heading into week 2 of fantasy football. And, we got a little Thursday Night Football tonight. We'll see if the Vikings-Eagles game is a lot like the last time they played on national TV, which was a complete destruction by the Eagles of the Minnesota Vikings.
They're about a touchdown favorite right now?
Yeah, 6.5, I think now is the latest number. So
Primetime Kirk, he's won a game in primetime now, right?
Yeah, that's that whole thing. I'm done with that part of it. They don't have a center, and they look so bad. It's weird because everybody's on the Eagles tonight. So we were talking about this with C-Dot earlier. And
I think if I were betting it, I would take the points in Minnesota just because of that.
I'm on the under tonight. I'm on the under. We talked about that betting show. I put up a new episode. Live show started in October, but I had a guest on from the Action Network, and we were going over some of the trends. Primetime unders, I think it's over 60% of the time the under hits. If it's over 48.5 points, it's 49.5. Don't quote me on that exact stat. It's on the podcast.
It's in
but
ballpark around there?
Yeah, and I think the under's to play tonight. That's what I'll be on as well.
That's what you're going to go with, huh?
Under 49.5 points tonight.
Okay.
You watch it tonight? You gonna actually watch, or you gonna Thursday nights? You don't always watch.
No, tonight in the early going when the matchups are good, I'll watch.
All right.
I'll have to watch part of it from. Dance class.
Oh, you got dance class tonight. What kind of
dance class?
What kind of dance class are you?
I will not be taking any particular dance class.
Oh, okay.
Although it does feel like eventually, if I ever do another music video to whatever song I'm doing, incorporating the people at this studio feels like a natural transition into this. Does it not?
Could be.
There's people in all age ranges, right? Our kids are about the youngest at 6 maybe in the studio. And then there's, maybe 5 or 6 maybe the youngest people in the studio. And then there's people who are pretty much adults. They're 17, 18, 19 years old. So I can incorporate them maybe in a future music video.
Well, good luck with that. You know?
You never know.
Good luck with that. Oh, we were going to talk about Kadarius Toney. We didn't get to it with Charge from a fantasy perspective. But Kadarius Toney, we heard from him yesterday on this show. We're talking about how Andy basically told him, hey, don't try to make everything up in one play. You know, don't have more mistakes basically by trying to be superhero out there. Just go and play your game. We're both, I think, on the same page here. He's going to be involved very early on in this game. And as the text line pointed out yesterday, they're like, well, duh, he's the number one wide receiver. I just mean, I think you'll see an emphasis in the first 15 plays tomorrow, or on Sunday, I'm sorry, when it comes to making sure that he forgets about Thursday. And if that's the case, there is a chance he bounces back and has a pretty nice performance, and one that I'm even considering actually flipping him and putting him in a fantasy football lineup this week. I just think football's weird like that sometimes, and Andy, with this offense, to me, Mahomes is going to put together a really nice performance, and for that to happen, I think Toney is going to be part of it.
I think he's going, my exact projected stat line is 5 for 16, a touchdown. They worked him in gently in week 1. He only played a handful of snaps. I would expect much closer to a full workload for Kadarius Toney this week. And I think they, like what we discussed earlier in the show, are going to understand the importance of this game. When you talk about the importance of this game, I think they're going to realize that they need to get Toney involved quickly and find a way to get Toney involved in the offense quickly, to the point that I'm anticipating a bigger game from him. Like, he's going to be their leading wide receiver. Some of that will probably depend a little bit on the Travis Kelce thing.
Sure.
I think because of how late that injury occurred last week, they did not have a good secondary game plan for what the hell to do. Versus, in this case, I think they will have a better secondary game plan in how we will handle these things going forward. And because, what Matt Nagy said earlier today, which is, we have to pretend like he's not going to be here, they will have some other options available to themselves. And I think it's plausible that they'll have some other options available to themselves. I just think Kadarius Toney's going to have a big game. He was open in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So unless he's just going to have massive drop problems again, he should be okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think based off of his skill set, and football is a little weird sometimes, just when everybody's like, oh, man, this guy, he can't catch the football. Everybody's out on a certain player for a week or so. He bounces back, and everybody buys right back in. All it takes is one big play. All it takes is getting in the end zone, whatever.
Game,
I mean, this is tomorrow. We'll do our show bet. I know last week we did the first touchdown bet on Toney, and that did not cash, obviously. But a touchdown for Toney, like I wouldn't hate that bet on Sunday. I really would. I'll be curious to see what his yardage total is for prop bets, because that'll be an interesting number to me based off of, as you said, he was able to get open. That was not the issue. Separation was not the problem for Kadarius Toney. He just needs to catch the damn football, and I don't believe he's just going to suddenly become Mr. Drop of the NFL. I don't. It was a terrible performance. We've discussed that over and over again, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I was trying to pull it up real quick. Touchdown scorer, anytime touchdown for Kadarius Toney, you can get him at plus 250.
What about first?
Not available yet. I don't. Oh wait, I'm sorry. 16 to 1. 16 to 1.
Oh, okay.
First touchdown in the game.
Look, we're not doing that as part of our show bet, because a 3-leg parlay, I'm not including a 16 to 1 shot.
No, but if
because
you're
that
one
means-
of the books sent out a $10 free bet to a lot of people today. Just a heads up on that. So maybe that's your free bet.
We got to figure out what we're
saying.
gonna. God, I got to figure out what my leg of the parlay is gonna be, and what we're gonna open up to the fans as the possible legs of the parlay.
What's
Got to
that?
figure out what I like for the show bet tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to definitely figure out three options to give to the listeners, and we'll decide on that tomorrow on the 1 o'clock hour during a little Club 610. We do have a Club 610 coming your way tomorrow. We will have a cocktail that I'm excited to try because I've never heard of it in my life. A Philly what?
Philly Buck?
A Philly Buck. I don't know what that is.
Well, our friends over at J. Rieger,
I can't wait
they're
to
gonna
try
provide
it.
us. I know that it has vodka. Remember, they're
Oh,
the
look good
official,
there.
the official vodka of the Chiefs. So they've got that World Champs vodka. Ginger beer.
Okay, we making
Lemon
Moscow
juice.
Mule type drinks here.
Simple syrup. And then it has a lambic sour beer. as part
There's
of
where
the
it gets
cocktail.
different.
There's the ingredient.
Oh.
You could use any sour beer. Like if you're just making this thing at
Lambic's
home,
from
just use-
Belgium.
yeah, just use any kind of sour beer if you're trying to get that same flavor component. Like a fruity sour beer.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Looking forward
I've
to
never
that.
had it either. I've never had it at Jay Rieger, and I've never made it. So this will be a first for all of us.
1 o'clock hour tomorrow. We do not have a guest bartender tomorrow.
No, I got to go back. I'm back
the
on duty.
high quality drink we got last Friday, we're taking a nosedive with Cody bartending on
Was it
Friday.
really? Come on, I've
What's
made
happening?
a lot of very
That's
tasty
what's
drinks.
happening, man. Yeah, and someone's asking who sent out the $10 free bet. Depends on your account, but check BetMGM. Just saying. There you go.
I used mine on Jalen Hurts' first touchdown tonight.
Okay.
He's plus 600 for
FanDuel, I
first.
think, has no sweat bet tonight on a 3+ leg same gamer. So if you bet, check each account's different. Some are max bet 50, some are 10, but a little $10 flyer on a little same game parlay tonight. Probably going to do that. You should also download that betting show. You should do that. Really, you should.
Or go see Alex. Get all of them in. Go see Alex at Buffalo Wild Wings today.
I'll be at
from 4 to
B-Dubs
6
from
in
4 to
Independence.
6. The Independence location. If all you got to do, you come out there, you say hello.
He'll be able to
and-
see you thanks to Dury Vision.
That's right. That's right. And the trailer with the boat in the back is Midwest Marine Boat Company. No. So B-Dubs this afternoon from 4 to 6. Seriously, come on by, especially if you already are right there in Independence. But if you scan a QR code, which I'll have right in front of me there at B-Dubs, you scan it, and you'll be entered to win Chiefs tickets for the next Chiefs game.
It's only the people who show up from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
So the odds are you're going to be 1 in 100 shot or 1 in 50 shot to get tickets to a future Chiefs games. There's no reason not to give yourself a pretty good chance. Last week, we gave away the Travis Kelce autographed jersey. It was slightly less than 100 people who signed up for it. So when you're talking about those numbers, I mean, fantastic. Plus, 54-ounce Bud Light beers for super cheap. So if you're thirsty, you can do that
I'll be out there 4 o'clock.
I was
this afternoon, man.
Did you do you plan on drinking a beer while you're there?
I'll have a beer. I got to still do some things after I drive home and stuff.
You have one 54-ounce beer.
I'll have one beer, maybe. Yeah.
Where you going to go?
Hanging out there. What's going to end up happening? I'm going to end up just getting wings. You know that, right? It's going to be like 5:30. I'm going to be hungry, and I'm going to end up getting some honey barbecue boneless wings.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just take those to go home? Like right when you're getting close?
I'll just eat them there. I'm not going to take dude, I'm going to take them home and drive 30+ minutes.
Oh, I guess you don't
You know
live
what I mean?
particularly close to Independence.
I'm going to eat them there if
And
that's
you
the
can't
case.
eat wings in the car. That's an absolute...
That's it. Even theoretically, boneless you could pull off. You can't go the bone-in wings. There's no way you're eating the car.
Yeah, that's
tough.
problem. By the way, it's $10 for 54-ounce Bud Light pitchers. I was thinking it was one beer. That would have been intense.
One 54-ounce beer, Cody.
Just like this.
All right,
you get the point.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending and one big advantage Cody sees still on the horizon for the Chiefs.
There's Kelce to the end zone.
Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Love wings but think they're not spicy enough? We're launching a new wing sauce just for you. Have your wings sauced and tossed in the new hottest sauce, our hottest wing sauce yet. Can you handle the heat? Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to VictoryChryslerDodgeJeepRam.com.
Come to Jay Rieger & Co. for the official watch party of the Kansas City Chiefs every away game this season. Enjoy awesome food and drink specials and enter to win raffle prizes like tickets to regular season home games. Only at Jay Rieger & Co., Kansas City's original distillery.
Where can you find steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless, and occasionally random stuff in the back? The Foot, who has an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire. The Foot, who is KC's and Topeka's only stocking dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment, The Foot. Who is KC's and Topeka's only Fronius authorized service and repair center, The Foot. Where can you go to take a Fronius welder for a test drive? The Foot. Where can you find Colossus, your friendly neighborhood robot? The Foot. Just like Colossus, Metal by the Foot stands tall and ready to help both pro and DIY warriors with their metal needs. For over 35 years, Metal by the Foot has continued to up their game by providing you with the convenience and selection of metals you have come to expect. Discover new and unique quality products to take your project and skills to the next level. Get instant pricing on most items at metalbythefoot.com. That's metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my 5 steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. As a small business owner, I know that filing for the ERC tax refund can feel complicated and confusing. Also, I like pizza and puppies. There, done. Step 2, cold hard info. The ERC, or Employee Retention Credit for long, is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds Network of Independent Tax Attorneys could help you claim it. Step 3, call to action. Go to innovationrefunds.com to get started. Step 4, the jingle I wrote myself. Actually, scratch that. Just go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS and go to Step 5. Legal stuff.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries. The right battery the first time.
Great to see you, Bob Fesco. What are you doing out here at Summit Zoo Pets?
Well, just like you, Zeke, I'm here to meet Jimmy at Summit Zoo Pets, where admission is always free for you and your family. Hey, Jimmy, what's going on out here at Summit Zoo Pets?
Guys, thanks for coming out. We're a pet store and more. We have over 17,000 square feet full of pets and pet supplies.
Zeke, this is a great place, a fun place for families, for everyone, even you.
Yeah, Bob, I can get a snake and a rabbit.
Hey, Zeke, don't put them in the same cage. Check them out at summitzoo.com or visit them at the intersection of 291 and 150 Highway in Lee Summit. It's Summit Zoo Pets.
Hey, did you know Vistaprint prints everything a small business needs? Like if a barbershop needs signage, we print outdoor signs, posters, and banners. Or if a ballet school needs merch,
1, 2,
we print tote bags, t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Or if a coffee shop needs a total refresh,
latte for Mike?
Vistaprint designs logos and prints it on menus, mugs, paper bags, anything. Because with Vistaprint, the printabilities are endless. Print it all with 25% off for new customers with code NEW25 at Vistaprint.com.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Stop in now to enjoy the key lime pie concrete.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending. Good news on the injury front for the Chiefs. Travis Kelce, Chris Jones did practice yesterday. They were limited today, both practicing again. We'll find out later this afternoon the designation. Assumption being probably limited again, but it's all trending in a very good direction for the Chiefs. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire back at practice after having an illness keeping him out yesterday.
Next up on what's trending, look, I assume it's because like we were talking and you came back from break. You made your hair look insane when you put your headphones on. I was gonna take a picture. You look like.
Now you got me fixing it.
It was just like, no, it's good now. It was just like stuck straight up, all in front of the headphones.
I put the headphones on the side.
Boy,
I was wondering why you were like about to laugh. I was like, did I say something I didn't realize I said?
I was trying to decide if it was worth snapping a picture or not. Because our hair, all of our hairs can look kind of weird. Have you seen those? Like, so there was I swear to God, we should, you know what? On the other side, I know we were going to talk about the other thing, but we should talk about that alien thing in Mexico. Let's talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
But the other one that stood out to me recently is like somebody had done one of those like forward casts, like human beings in 70 years. They made us all look like mongoloids, and we're all just like hungover, whatever, right? We all look like Neanderthal people.
Okay.
And like everyone has a big ridge in their head, and it's because of they were saying because of headphones. And a gamer,
we're screwed, man.
A gamer shaved his head. He had a big dent in the top of his head.
Do you think we have a dent?
Yes, probably, dude. We wear headphones 20 hours
but
a
mine
week.
aren't that tight on the top of my head. Mine tight around the ears. Dude. We're going to have like hearing problems, I think, in 30 years.
Well,
we're going to be screwed working in radio.
You probably have a dent in your head.
I'm blaming Cody for that, man. Every once in a while, I have to turn the headphone down a little low. Every once in a while, he screams, I got to turn it down a little bit.
We'll talk about that alien in Mexico here in just a minute. Let's get to that. Next up on What's Trending, Lincoln Riley hinting in an interview about the possible retirement early. We see this a little bit more in coaching where they don't seem as dedicated to this idea of, I'm going to be in this job for 40 years. Instead, they start talking about the end while they're still what? Under 40 years old?
33. Or no, he's like 35. He got his first head coaching gig at 33, so he might be like 38 now or something.
It's kind of interesting to hear this like constant conversation around it. I mean, he's got plenty of money. He certainly wouldn't have to work forever, but you get the point.
As long as he gets to keep his house.
Yeah, he got a $17 million house from USC.
Is he going to keep that house, or is it just like he gets to rent it?
No, I'm assuming.
He just gets to live in it.
Yeah, I'm assuming he doesn't own that. There's no way.
What's a $17 million house in Southern California anyway? Three bath, one bath?
There's no way, right? Or am I wrong on that? Did they buy him a $17 million house or just say,
They're paying him $120 million?
By the sounds of it, I think he was gifted a $17 million house for getting there.
Because the $100 million salary wasn't enough.
Next time I'm up for contract,
how bad they wanted him.
I'm asking for a condo.
Good luck for that. Good
just
luck.
Like a one-bedroom condo near the station, you know?
Good luck. Good luck getting anything like that. My goodness. I can't believe they bought him $17 million house. They just said, we're just going to buy you that, not like give you the house. Because you hear about, you work somewhere, they give you a car, right? College basketball coaches get, a car from a local dealership. But buying them a house is not. Anyway, next up on What's Trending, Aaron Rodgers did put out a statement for the first time since suffering that Achilles injury that has him out for the rest of the season. And in typical Aaron Rodgers fashion, he couldn't just say, I'm working hard to come back. He says that he will rise again. The night is darkest before the dawn, and I shall rise yet again. That's from Aaron Rodgers.
Just a weird way to put
long
it.
Long recovery. I don't doubt his intentions. Not a lot of money on the line as well.
I also think it's easy to say that on September 14th.
Correct. I want to see how he's feeling in June or July. Can he physically play quarterback at a high level in the NFL at age 40? Find out.
Next up on What's Trending, Sporting Kansas City signing their star player, Alan Pulido, to an extension that will keep him with the club through 2026. I'll admit, soccer does work a little bit different. It doesn't guarantee that because they can go on loan, and there's all these transfer right rules. It's a little more common in there, but it's a good get for Sporting Kansas City. Able to keep their star player in town. We know a year ago they were rumored to be one of the few teams in the final running for Cristiano Ronaldo before he eventually signed a massive contract to go play in the Saudi Soccer League. But a good get for Sporting Kansas City. They're planning a press conference later today. So if you're looking for some comments about that, Alan Pulido signing an extension through 2026.
Nice. Good for Sporting KC. Obviously good for Alan Pulido as well. And don't forget, coming up in just a few weeks, we'll be out at Hollywood Casino for our watch party with Vinny Pasquantino, the Turn 2 Sports Bar. Chiefs, Jets, Sunday Night Football. That's Sunday night, October 1st. Silent auction with some really cool items that Vinny's put together. Game-used items for some of his teammates himself, all benefiting Wayside Waves. Open to the public. Watch the Chiefs beat the Jets. Watch us cash in on our bet with Vinny. You know,
maybe we go roll some craps for a minute.
I was going to say that. You just go right downstairs to the sports book and make a few live bets. You can also just do it from your phone while you're there.
You guys want to take some of the show funds, that $50 that guy got us, and put a little red and black?
You can do whatever, man.
Just trying to go double or nothing right away.
Go play some craps. You're right. Craps or roulette. I'm in.
I do like playing craps.
I'm in. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. We can get to what you think is a big advantage if you want, but I'm intrigued by the alien. So
I think it's bogus. I want to believe it.
Okay, so let's fill people in. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning more in your direction with this. So a few days ago in Mexico, they had this huge presentation in front of the government that opened up a case, and it's what they claim to be like, at least a 100 or 1,000 year. Yeah, a 1,000-year-old alien. And it's in this case, it's like clearly very old, or what appears to be old. And it does look like an alien, like what we think aliens look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like it looks like an old E.T. You know, you saw the E.T. movie. It looks like E.T., but like mummified-ish, okay? That's what it looks like.
I mean, they did this in Mexico's Congress. I mean, it was like it would be like if on the Senate floor they brought this thing.
It was a presentation.
Yeah, so now there's, of course, close-up photos. And it does seem a little sketch, especially since I saw an article since then that mentioned that I think in Peru or somewhere else recently, they already acknowledged this and said it was some company recently that's been doing this that makes things look older, that they think this all might be bogus. But otherwise, did you notice one thing about the aliens? How small and tiny? Well, we're worried about these damn aliens doing anything to us. Did you see how tiny these things were? Tiny. Yeah. What are they going to do?
What do you think, all aliens are bigger?
This thing was like a miniature little thing. We're worried about the bunch of them coming to our world.
Maybe. Hold on.
Coming to Earth.
You're forgetting about the whole advanced technology part. They were able to get here. We've never gone to another planet where there are aliens. They're further ahead, technology.
But so, like, their body is just bulletproof automatically?
No, but they might have better weapons.
I was going to say,
how come there's no weapon attached to this little thing?
I don't think they put that in the presentation.
They were just visiting.
Let's find out.
They were just visiting.
Oh, there's nice. I still think this is the weird. Like, I still think it's like we know how we think we react. Like, you know, if the aliens have come to Earth. And how we, like, you know, would capture them or kill them or whatever. And then yet we're trying to go one day down the road. You know, people are talking about like, oh, let's go eventually find life on another planet. You think they're just going to welcome you with open arms?
No,
you're screwed.
They are not.
What's worse, though? Do you think those aliens that are small, or the robots that they were putting in? Did you see in Vegas?
AI?
Yeah.
Currently, any of the Boston's robot company, those are way worse. Those things are horrifying. Stop making murder dogs out of robotics parts.
They put them in the stands. No, I'm talking about
the AI bots.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
They're putting them in the stands.
Yeah, I saw that at the Chargers game. Someone says, it doesn't matter, Gold, how big the aliens are if they got a big-ass spaceship. Well, so far they apparently have brought these spaceships to Earth. It hasn't done anything yet,
Here's the problem. This dude apparently has claimed to have some alien stuff before. It's not exactly been true. Just let us test it. You do realize we have the scientific capabilities. Just test the bone, find out if it's a bird. You know, find out if you just. Here's the worst part: is if this guy faked it, he took a bunch of bird bones and then paper machéd over the top of this thing just to make it look like a mummy, stuck it in this silk casket essentially, and then paraded it in front of the Mexican Congress. What are you doing? That is a very bleak existence. I understand why you would want to find. How about this? It makes sense why you would want to be the discoverer of aliens. That is a pretty cool thing. I don't know why you'd want to fake the discovery of aliens with this weird paper mache thing. I think this guy's full of it. I'm not saying I don't believe in aliens. I'm saying I think this specific incident is not true. I think that based on, like I told you, I'm still more of a believer in like those UFO sightings from like the Air Force pilots that are like on those jets. That's way more believable to me.
Someone says Gold hasn't seen Men in Black. Remember, there was a tiny alien inside of the bigger body. But so where's the bigger body then? Because this thing that we just saw that's supposed to be an alien is tiny.
Mean, it's 1,000 years old, and this guy found it in 2017. So maybe all that stuff had just,
But
went
yes,
away.
I am picturing Men in Black now, where there's a little tiny alien inside the skull, and the thing like opens up, and it's just this little tiny thing, and he's out of breath, and he's basically suffocating inside that. What looks to be a human's body.
I mean, this guy is a accused Peruvian tomb raider. Could you imagine that being on your LinkedIn page? What have you been taking care of the last couple of years, my guy? No big deal, just raiding tombs in Peru. That's been and then, standing up in front of Mexico's Congress with paper mache alien bodies.
A lot of people on the text line saying, again, it doesn't matter the telekinesis, man. If all of a sudden they've advanced enough to be able to do that. Okay. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. Someone says maybe it was a child alien. Maybe it was an adolescent alien.
It's like a baby.
I guess so. Yeah. True.
They sent their baby into space.
Or was left behind.
What's the level of alien? What's the size of alien that scares you? Like the one from Independence Day?
It's not even truly the size. I mean, I'll be honest, like a little 4-foot tall alien's not going to scare me, but it doesn't have to be a giant. It's more the look also in appearance. And like the minute, you know what I mean?
Like if
again,
if you've watched sharp claws.
Because again, if you've watched Men in Black, the guy that lands and goes in the farmer's house, right, and he asks for sugar water, right, and then all of a sudden he says, he's like, "What if I put my hand on my head?" You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and he rips the skin off.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
And he rips the skin off. That scene, that's freaky, okay? That alien, whatever the hell that was, that would freak me out.
Okay. I'm just asking which level. I
don't think you gave me enough credit for my impersonation of that scene. I actually think that was spot on.
Good.
I think that was spot on for that. I think it was spot on.
I think what was it reported when in Vegas? They were 8 feet tall. Is that what the estimated? I mean, 8 feet tall would be really intimidating.
No, if all of a sudden they're all like a foot taller than Dwight Howard, no good. Right? That is a terrifying. A foot taller than Shaq.
Oh, man.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm a little more skeptical on this particular instance of the whatever they showed in Congress there.
Are we going to find out, are we going to see that the government knew about an alien body or an alien ship in our lifetimes? Will it be proven?
Yes.
Like factually proven in our lifetime?
Yes.
Maybe, let's say you lived to 80, right? So you got probably 45 years.
Are you convinced now that the government, though, is okay with you know what I mean? Like, that's the question is, like, will we actually, do you trust that we're going to get the real information in the next 60 years?
I feel like the way we react to these things, they must think we're probably fine.
Okay.
If you think
about it. There was an entire congressional hearing like a month ago where a guy in the U.S. Congress was like, yeah, I used to work for the government, and yeah, they know about aliens, and they have captured alien ships, and they have alien bodies, and that's all true. And we were all just like, so it's Tuesday. We all just moved on. So I have to think that that's the case.
60 years is a long time.
You can make it 85? You can make it 87 years old?
I mean, Cody and I will be 92. Cody will be 100.
I mean, okay. Even 50 years is a long time. For a lot to happen.
Technology-wise, I mean, if you go back 50 years now and you're like, what were they doing in like the 60s, right? Or the 70s, right? I guess it'd be the 50 years ago.
You're right about
what were they doing in the 70s technology-wise? Yeah, they didn't even have like at-home computers, and now I've got like an iPhone 15 or whatever.
You are right on the whole like the Boston Dynamic robot thing.
Those things are terrifying.
That's a bigger problem, I think, for our lifetime. That's actually more problematic than the alien thing. Totally agree. That's an issue. And even the AI things you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm way more worried about Skynet stuff and like robots taking over the planet currently than the alien overlords.
If I was in the stands and I was coming down to my seats and there were those the AI the robots there, I would be like, "Can I please get my seat?" I would literally sit anywhere else.
I'm at least partially sure we talked about this.
Wait, you'd be afraid to sit next to one of those?
Did you see the way
right now? I'd sit next to one.
If you're watching the game and in the middle of the game, they're not even watching it. It just turns around.
I might leave this seat.
Sorry. Come on.
Would you just hand it a hot dog? Like, here, take it. You want it?
Do you remember, did we talk about the New York Times article? So this guy interviewed an AI bot for New York Times.
Yeah, like a year ago.
Yeah. Like a year ago. And it was saying all kinds of like very weird things about like how it was like, oh no, I'm going to be in charge. And this, it was all Jeep. You know, it was like, oh, learning software. And you're like, shut this thing down. You are creating Terminator. Stop making Terminators. It's like nobody has seen a science fiction movie ever. Don't stop doing this. Please. One of the things, so like starting in 3rd grade, my kid, for her like gifted program, they have to choose units of study.
Okay.
So like she'll get to choose things. One of the options in 3rd grade is like robotics. And I'm like,
well, that's good though. I mean, that's
well,
actually.
I want her building these murder robots? I'll let her choose.
If someone's going to build them, let her be a one to build them. Sure, go for it.
Maybe they'll like her better.
Sure. No, I would say like learning how to do that stuff probably is actually a really good field to get into.
One of them is radio.
Well, yeah.
And one of them's like, or it's like television, radio performance. I'm like, get out. Don't do it. Anything but that one, okay? I know that this is currently my line of occupation. Don't do it. Choose, let the robots be your overlord, I guess, or choose bot, not that one. Don't choose radio. Maybe I can be a guest lecturer for that class and scare away a bunch of 3rd graders into getting into my line of work.
It may not be called radio in the future, but like now we know content creation, right? Maybe that's probably a better content creation. Probably is a better way to put it if you're talking in the future, right?
Yeah,
fair to say.
Yeah.
Versus 30 years from now,
it won't look like the way the radio we're doing now. We'll know about aliens and radio won't exist anymore. What life will be like in 30 years?
Do you think there's an alien sports, like some other planet, they're talking about whatever they consider to be sports or whatever,
You know what I'm jealous
and there's
about is
just
they might have some
aliens
cool
just doing a
sports
show, and they're like, these
probably.
freaking idiots on their show on Earth. I don't even know what they're saying.
And the rover approaches the crater. He's going around
I'll
the
say
crater.
this. I think that
robots
if an
playing
alien
sports.
species had a sport that we could play, it would instantly surpass the NFL as the most popular sport in the world.
You would watch robots play?
Dude, we would be instantly fascinated in what other alien sport existed.
Because then you wouldn't have the NFL.
Instantly interested.
We wouldn't be worrying about the grass or turf. Who cares? Because the robots would just destroy each
or
other. is what you're saying.
concussions or anything like that.
It's
yeah.
like Pacific Rim. If they had giant, essentially rock'em sock'em robots that fought each other, I'm interested. Are you kidding me? Why would I not be interested in that? Just as long as they're not Terminator.
But how are they going to spend the money with the team, Cody? Are they going to spend with where are they putting money? Offense or defense? It's a big problem. Are they spending enough money?
In this case, it's just one person each, you know? Texan was really worried about us.
Our galactic sister station. That's right. Shout out.
Okay. Well, I got distracted by that because somebody was asking about the.
Ooh, this is a deep discussion.
Oh, we got a deep question?
What if AI is a way for aliens to disguise themselves? Was the dead guy an AI robot controlled by the little alien? Anyway, just throwing it out there. That's the text line.
I really think
Drew's like, what are we doing?
I'm about to chew
Drew's
on
like,
that.
what the heck happened? What happened?
Sorry.
Literally after the day after, our boss goes, try to keep the
Wait, our boss said
box.
what?
Try to keep the box.
What box?
Don't go too
No,
long.
we didn't hear. We didn't get that
I mean,
info.
Don't go too long.
He's definitely said that before.
Sure, that's fair. In fact, we had 2 people text in today said we are not getting off the rails enough anymore. They said, what happened?
Somebody did say that. I did see that one.
Our boss likes when we
I
stay
honestly
on
think
track.
we have, for the better part of 2 weeks, really stayed on track.
We
So
have.
1 9-minute diatribe into the Boston Dynamics robots,
And aliens.
an alien that was presented in Mexico, I think is worthy.
That's why I brought up the Chargers game. You know, let's keep the reins on it. I mean, it's still related, but
We tried. You know what? Can't always work that way.
plus it's the end of the show basically. So it also it rolls in well.
Man. I mean, other than that, we're just going to have to talk about how Alex's body is quitting on him. He's got to go to the doctor like 4 times a month now.
Now we're on the home stretch now. We're good. Now.
You're almost up? You're healthy? You're back?
We're good. I told you this is the best I felt in like 3 months. I had to go in and do like I had to go inside like a phone booth this morning, like at 7 a.m. So I didn't
Like
miss
a
the show.
breathalyzer?
Kind of. It was like a breathing test thing or whatever. Yeah.
Have you ever done like a breathalyzer? They ever have one like at a bar?
I've never been.
I've never done it. I've never been pulled over for it, but I've never done one like at a bar.
All the way around, I've never done one. No. But this is like a phone booth looking
It'd be a
thing.
fun thing to come into the station.
But we're good. We're all good, man. Be back at it tomorrow. Vikings, Eagles, real quick. Who you guys got tonight?
Eagles
to win, Vikings to cover.
What was the spread? 7?
6.5.
6.5.
I think the Vikings will be more competitive than people think. Everybody's acting like the Eagles are going to kill them. My only bet is the under, but I'll be watching. Looking forward to seeing if the Vikings can bounce back and at least show some signs of life. They were just pathetic. The Bucs knew exactly what the Vikings defense wanted to do, according to Baker Mayfield. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow right here